right, welcome on in to a special Sunday watch along for Lanterns. I had some time on my hands. I figured, why not just do a watch along? It sounds like a lot of fun. Hopefully, it will be a lot of fun. If you guys are watching me live, then hey, I believe we just hit 9 o'clock on the dot. So that means we are getting the episode that everybody has been waiting for. Or, I mean, maybe you have been waiting for. Maybe if you are here, you probably are looking forward to it. So here's how I'm going to do this, right? I'm basically going to put on screen a bunch of photos. I'm going to react to the episode live as I watch. I can't put the show on screen because that would not be fun. But you guys are welcome to play along and like literally watch the episode as I watch it, and then we'll see how it all plays out. So yeah, there we go. Let's get the show started. I've got it loaded up, and we'll watch the first episode of Lanterns together. That sounds like a lot of fun to me. Okay, let's see. I need to. Okay, I refreshed the page. It's now available. So here we go. Watching Lanterns episode 1, the pilot episode, as they call it in the industry. I'm going to skip through some ads. There we go. New episode Sundays at 10 p.m. Eastern time. So Sundays at 10. It's a little later than what I was expecting, but it's here at 9 today. So let's do this thing. I mean, we've already seen the first bit of this, so. There's that too. Honka honka Caleb. Well, we'll do spoilers later. So yeah, we'll do spoilers later. And hello Nelson, hello Caleb again. Yeah. It's called pilot because it's a takeoff for the series. Yeah, fair enough. He's not afraid. Hmm. Hmm. I mean, he's not wrong. Losing your parent, yeah, losing a parent would change you. Tell you from people I know. Thankfully, I haven't had to experience that personally yet. Here comes Papa Stewart. Again, still in the part of the show where we have already seen this stuff before. In the yeah, we already saw this part released early. How? Not impressed by the name. Says, go. I know you guys have talked about the whole Apple thing. I mean, there was a casualty we already know about in episode 1. That poor Apple, man. That's like a scene like straight out of what was a Shrek movie? Was it where they shoot an apple on the head? Or maybe it was, I'm thinking of like Puss in Boots. Yeah. Interesting. All right. He's not afraid. No, sir. You gotta have balls and confidence in your shooting ability to do that shit. Still dangerous. Still dangerous. Like, because the shrapnel from a bullet hitting the thing behind his head, like that's ridiculous. I mean, I get the thematics of it. I get it. His dad is just as not afraid as he is. That's the man we are meeting here, John Stewart. Hmm. This is like Captain America vibes from back in the day. Except I don't think the boxing thing goes flying, so there we go. He's a military man. He runs on time. I admire that. I admire John Stewart. All right. Currently I've got just under an hour left in what was an hour 4 minutes runtime, I believe. So early goings, but yeah, watching along. Hmm. And you got to remember, they did so much. I do wonder how John is feeling right now. I'll check in with him later. I'm late, yes sir. Same thing, yeah. Yeah, I like the cockiness that Kyle Chandler is playing this off with. Yeah, love it. Oh, disappeared for 2 weeks. Hmm. Hungover, late. Maybe he's doing it on purpose. No, sir. Probably does sound like fuck you, sir. Yeah, there you go. Love that writing so far. John just sent me time for Tom King to rape the senses with his atrocious writing. Ah, uh, okay. Hal just saved the planet from a civil war. That's why he was hungover, partying. Hmm. I mean, you said it, Caleb. Okay. Damn. Still so far, everything we have seen before in the promotional stuff. Very early going. Clearly, Hal doesn't think John is ready. He's like, wearing the ring is only half of it. Even though the Guardians chose John very early. He's like, all right, let's test it. Yep. Taco stand. They showed this stuff at San Diego Comic-Con. Uh-oh, John. Let's see if you can summon up some bubble wrap. uh, that he didn't summon enough to save the car. That car's gone. I don't know if John is gone. Ooh, intro. Okay, okay, very understated. Just the logo, a little animation. Okay, I like it. I don't. I'm kind of tired a little bit of like underdone and very average, minute long intros with animation that hints at what's going on in the season. Yeah. All good, Caleb. Well, I'm watching it. So how can I not give you spoilers? He's just talking to his dad. All right. You'd be cool, son. Yeah. He wants it. Stay the course. The job is yours. He's treating it like a job. His dad has his compass, which I appreciate. I appreciate that he's got a strong relationship with his father. Oh, the ring is glowing, giving him a. Oh, oh. Oh shit. Okay, so the ring generates a hollow of a younger Hal Jordan. Okay. 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 Okay, this might be for the future if Hal's not around. His his ring-based hollow will be around. He looks younger, got a leather jacket, wondering why the trainee situation. Hmm. There in 2016. Yep. Hmm. I'm not that big of a fan of Peacemaker, by the way. It's good, but this looks better. Hmm. Lanterns. They get uploaded weekly into this Hollow thing, kind of like Man of Steel, the Jor El Hollow. Yeah, Lantern's hologram. Yep, Caleb. Exactly. Apparently, the last time Hal got himself backed up was 10 years ago, so he's missed those weekly backups apparently. Yeah. Oh, hasn't taught him to fly yet. The Hollow asking about his present self, Hal, to John. Ooh, he's asking, does Hal trust him? John. John is not good at lying. Better get along great. No, you don't. Well, there goes the Hollow. Gave him a riddle to tell the real Hal. All right. Okay. All right. Now, if it is true that Hal is not surviving this episode, then I can see how Kyle's Chandler will still be part of the show, being a Hollow that comes from the ring. So there's that. There we go. Hal Jordan's posing for photos. That's the scene they showed off at Comic-Con as well. Yeah. He's definitely in it for the fandom as well. Or at least he doesn't mind it. All right. Yeah. He's like, I'll pose for your daughter or with your daughter. There we go. You're very welcome. It's because her mom is a big fan too. He wears it on special occasions. Again, we saw this scene at San Diego Comic-Con. Hal doesn't pull out the suit unless it's a special occasion. But here comes John coming out to the taco stand. So now we get to that. They've put photos out for this when they're sitting out on a table. Dropping the F-bombs left and right. Yeah, this is the scene we are at right now. Yep. Bubble wrap. We knew that. Yep. Saved himself with a bubble wrap, John did. Churros? Ooh. Why pull out the suit on special occasion? Everybody wants to know about the suit. I see. Hal's got wisdom. He doesn't wear the suit all the time. Because ties are a pain in the ass. Good comparison. I get it. I get it. You know, the whole wisdom of you dress for the job you want, not the job that you have. Good when you're entry level, but once you get past a certain point in your career, that wisdom is bullshit because it really doesn't matter. You can walk around in hoodie and sweatshirt once you get to a certain point. I mean, it depends on your career path. Ooh. Oh, whatever there goes. Hal goes flying. Apparently the halo gave him a clue about something that he didn't remember. Yeah, the hologram. Okay, motherfucker. I've counted at least 3 F-bombs so far from Jon Stewart. Very HBO, very TVMA. We got a Hertz product placement for a rental car. Because, Hal can fly, but John's got to drive because he doesn't have the ring. What do you think about the criticism about this being less superhero and more true detective show, the balance being off? So far, this is fine. I mean, we're in the first 10 minutes of the episode, and I think we're getting plenty of superhero stuff. We have seen a dude fly. We have seen the lantern. They didn't really show the bubble wrap being generated when the car went off the cliff, but we do see John is now arriving in Nebraska, where Hal flew out to that football game. But yeah, it's like so far we have seen Hal fly. We haven't seen constructs yet, but yeah, like this is fine so far. I don't mind. Yeah, something's happened. The whole town is there. Yeah. Did he really die, or is it just open ended? I don't know yet. I haven't gotten that far. I haven't gotten that far. Sure, Caleb. If you want to drink are you even old enough to drink? I don't think you're old enough to drink, unless it depends on where you live. If you're in America, you're not old enough to drink, from what I hear. But Outback. There's been 3 F-bombs so far, if I'm counting correctly. This is the scene about, like, he's like, hey boss, there's another one. He's like, I'm a Green Lantern. He's like, oh, we got 2 lanterns? There's another one? This is 2016, so presumably Guy isn't a lantern yet. And they're surprised there's more than one Green Lantern, because the whole world only knows, Hal Jordan as Lantern. So yeah. Stay off the field, they say. This looks like a high school football stadium, and something went down, and the whole town was there, and the cops are around, and whatever's happened, it's kind of in the background right now. They're just sitting and observing here on the bleachers, as we saw the behind the scenes stuff. If it's South, anything goes. Sure enough, Caleb. Sure enough. You better than me. I'll wake you up. I don't know if Guy's showing up in this episode. Mm. Yeah, emergency services from 2 towns, 2 counties. There. Why they're riding the bench. All right. Here comes the sheriff. So we just got Kelly McDonald's character. Mm-hmm. Hey, Monique. We were watching along the Lanterns episode. About a quarter of the way in. 15 minutes. Yeah. Hal is like, I'm here because this is going to be extraterrestrial related. Yeah, and it's a mass shooting. Okay. Oh, mass shooting. But the sheriff is like, this is very terrestrial, whatever's happened here. This kind of sounds a little Men in Black-y, if Men in Black was like a more serious thing so far. Like the way they're playing it, except not, well, Men in Black, they don't play it straight. The word aliens come up. All right. Okay. Sheriff wants to keep it low key. Wow. Air fried dry rub tri-tip with buttered sweet corn on the cob. Damn, Monique. Yeah. All right. Sheriff is like, nice to meet you, John. Telling him to stay the fuck out of their way. That's the 4th F-bomb, Caleb. We're going up to 4. Going up to 4. 4 F-bombs. This one was the first one not delivered. Actually, this has been 5. 3 by John, 1 by Hal, and 1 by the sheriff. He seems to think that Hal seems to think the sheriff likes him. She's trying to keep it low key so that it doesn't grab a lot of news attention, with media vans and whatnot. John talking about what probably happened. He's doing his detective thing. Hal has asked him to do it. Okay. He's thinking home fans rush the field. All right. It's a rivalry. All right. So people were carrying, and it was a big rivalry game. Okay. So people just brought guns and from opposite sides of a rivalry game, and people got shot up. when they rush the field. Why aliens? Hmm. All right. Hal's like, trust my guts. Another fuck. There you go. That's 6. He's like, he's like, I've got a feeling I'm the only one done this job. Yeah, it's his job. Ooh. Hal is not planning to dine anytime soon. Telling John to take a big breath. Yeah. Uncle alert. Yeah, Uncle alert. D. Ross. Hey, Marco. You're right about that. So, 6 F-bombs so far. Hmm. Hmm. All right. Now we're getting about to this dude. This guy here on the right. On the screen here. They might pull him into question him now. Yep. Sounds like foreshadowing. You're not wrong. Respect the chain of command. I love this back and forth. Clearly, John and Hal. You know, John is like, dude, I know how to do this job. As Hal's like, well, I'm the only one who's ever done this job in this sector, so trust my gut. All right. John's talking to the sheriff. Yeah. So the sheriff already knows the suspicious dude, just not trying to raise alarm again. Yeah. I'm watching as live as I can. So I'm watching it right now. They're on the field here, John and the sheriff. So yes, I am, yes. Caleb is watching metaphorically along, but he's here to just listen to my beautiful voice. Thank you, Caleb. All right, that dude is running. And John's I'm thinking John, the former Marine, John Stewart's gonna stop this dude. He's got pace on him. Good luck to this dude. Here we go. A chase on foot. The sheriff is a distant second or third right now in this chase. My voice is gracious, it's gorgeous. Thank you, Caleb. I appreciate it. Is it still not available in Portugal, Marco? I thought it was. I don't know what the timing difference is, but so in the US it's just started at the top of the hour, so it's 9 p.m. something. It's 9:22 right now Eastern time, and it started being available to watch at 9 p.m. So whether you're watching on HBO linear or I'm watching it on HBO Max, you know, I don't have ads, so if you have ads, it might slow your watch down a little bit. But I have the ad-free version, so I'm because it's 23 minutes past the top of the hour. I'm roughly 20 or so minutes into the show. We're about the 1/3 of the way into the show right now. They're doing the whole chase on foot with this dude in the hat, and they went to the high school. John caught up, punched him in the face, knocked him out. So now he's gonna get arrested, and we're getting to that scene now on screen where they're gonna interrogate this dude once he wakes up, probably with a black eye. The sheriff's cuffed him. They got him. Yep, let's go. Let's take him in for interrogation. So far, the pilot doesn't sound like the worst thing to happen to the Green Lanterns. I'm telling you, it's playing well so far. Are you sure it's not on HBO Max where you are? Did you try refreshing? I had to refresh it a couple of times because but all right, though Hal's just went to the bar, generated money with his ring. That's problematic. Whatever. He blurs the line a little bit. You know, he wanted the jukebox to play some music while they get some drinks, maybe some food, using lantern money. Where is John? John is watching the show, but not on the show tonight. So just myself. He'd probably be watching this with a lot more venom than I have. Another. They're having drinks. John said time for Tom King to rape the senses with atrocious writing when he started watching. So. He's like, this ring is a dangerous weapon. When to and not to use it as a dangerous weapon. I see Purna Jagannathan's character sitting across the bar. Yeah. Liz will be back soon. She wasn't feeling well, but Liz doesn't do Sundays. That's her time to go see a movie. Yeah, try refreshing it. I'm liking it so far. John's still very doubtful, like Hal got the ring and deservedly, but Hal telling him he's a test pilot. He was, yeah. Oh, his room started to vibrate when he was a test pilot sleeping in. A big green bubble showed up, floats him out of bed. Oh, hmm. Yeah, I know, right, Caleb? John is going through it right now. All right, getting a backstory to how Hal got the ring. Mm, he got taken up by a green bubble. Took him up, took him to Nebraska where they are. There was a crashed spaceship. Asked him, "Are you afraid?" He said he's not. There was a pilot crash there. Pink bald alien, coughing up blood. Said pretty fucking intense. There was an alien. I'm guessing a lantern that crashed there, and somebody's not happy about the music in the bar. So he doesn't even understand a lot of what. Okay. Oh, he reasoned the thing. Sector 2814. Okay, so the alien was being like, "You're gonna be the lantern." He gave him the ring. The alien. Oh, the ring is chosen to you to be my successor. Sovereignty. Two more words. The last words of the dying lantern. Yeah. Okay. So apparently Earth is like the they apparently the 2814 like is the backwater. Earth is the backwater of that sector. And and so when a lantern gets chosen out of Earth, where the Guardians don't want to be around, this backwater shithole, he's like, it means something. So apparently Hal takes his responsibility seriously, because he's like, Earth is a small part of Sector 214, Hal backwater. That same song keeps playing, and guys are not happy at the bar, in the pub. All right, so Hal's trying to get into a fight so he can get arrested, could go talk to the guy. And John has figured out the plan that Hal's got. That's why the same song keeps playing. All right, Hal just put the ring down, took a shot. I guess he's gonna get into a fight so he can get arrested, go to jail, so he can go to jail to interrogate that dude they arrested earlier. All right, he's like, John, you stay out of this. What I'm about to get into. He's like, all right, you got it, dude. He's like, thanks. For once, John is agreeing with Hal, and he's like, oh, okay, thanks, I suppose. Did he get bitten by a radioactive Green Lantern, and that's how he got his powers? No, unfortunately not, Caleb. Unfortunately not. It's up in Portugal. Yeah, all right, okay. Thank you, Marco, for the compliment, but yes, you can come back over. I'll react to their episode with a review right after the episode ends. Yeah. Now, Purna Jagannatha's character is talking Zoe. Talking about the ring. She says he gave him the ring. He's testing him. Testing him how? Zoe asks. Who gives a shit? John says. Puts the ring down. Coke. Coke and Coke. I like Coke and Coke. You know? I'm Canada Dry right now. Green. On point. Space Cop. Zoe's onto the Space Cop thing. It's not his partner, says John. He's just training. One trainee. Why'd they pick him? Their bosses did. Space cops have bosses, apparently, says Zoe with a laugh. Everybody's got bosses. Yeah, John is blushing while Hal is getting his ass kicked by like 5 dudes. Space Cop 2. Earth has one lantern. Someone's being trained just in case something happens to the main guy. He's the backup quarterback, John. He's not patient. Zoe picked up on that just from the conversation that she overheard at the bar. And here comes the cops. Hal's getting arrested. The sheriff is there, obviously. Hal's trying to be very nondescript about it. He's like, I gotta be in there to be able to have a conversation. He's like, my plan's worked. Yeah. And John's like, this stupid plan. Yeah, John blushes. Like, apparently Zoe, makes him blush. Says he's John. Is Zoe leaving him wanting more? Oh yeah, definitely. Here we go. This is an HBO show after all, TVMA, and they're fucking in the car in the front seat. And now they're smoking. It is HBO. She's like, gonna be a Green Lantern? He's like, can I be the Green Lantern? He's like, no, but I can give you a light with the lantern. All right. There we go. Still on 6 F-bombs, I think. Maybe I missed one. Well, I suppose this one wasn't set. It was more the act. So on that, you might say 7. So, anyway. John is there to catch up with Hal at the precinct. And the sheriff is like, are you here to bail him out? Apparently Hal's locked in the broom closet. Yeah, the sheriff did put him in the broom closet instead of putting him in the same cell as the guy he wanted to talk to. Sheriff's not really letting Hal go here. Oh, Hal is getting arraigned. This plan kinda didn't work. Come on. Oh, the judge is like, are you a law enforcement official? What agency do you represent? The Green Lantern Corps. Which bureau? Of Green Lantern. Didn't say Green Lantern Corps. All right. Wow. Cheeky. You cheeky, Mr. Jordan? Here comes a lawyer or public defendant. Okay. Mr. Macon. Yeah. Okay. All right, Hal just hired Mr. Macon. He can fly. He's a flight risk. Comedy. A little bit. Apparently Mr. Macon is the sheriff's husband. Interesting. 100,000 bail. He says, come on. 200,000 bail. Mr. Macon's like, my father will send the check. Mr. Macon's rich. Mr. Macon Jr. is rich. Or Mr. Macon Sr. is rich. Julian. Now there's strings attached, though. There are strings attached. All right, his father wants to have supper with Hal. Like-minded, his father is. Mm. Up to the ranch. They're married. Hal is caught up now to Mr. Macon and the sheriff. Small town, you know. Billy Macon. Does John like barbecue? Hal says he's vegan. Choice. More the merrier. I guess they're all invited to dinner. So here we go. Let's see what that means. Here we go. Now we're pulling up on the Macon Ranch. So John is driving in his rental with Hal to the Macon Ranch. You got big M's on the gates. People with the guards with M4s at the gates. They got to be let in. You know, the Macon's probably the hot shit in town. You know? So there we go. I'm guessing we're about to get to the part where we get to meet Garrett Dillahunt at the ranch. Dude, they got a whole squadron of like military dudes. They got people doing target practice, long range, doing SWAT drills. It's a militia. Yeah, AR-15s. Oh, yeah. Hal's not taking them all that seriously, but here we go. We got dudes on horses with guns in hand. We are in Nebraska after all, so you know, there we go. That's a big house, mansion, whatever you want to call it. Smacky's here, about to start up Lanterns. Good luck, man. Come here afterward or tune in for the review. I'm watching along. All right. Sheriff and has a kid with Billy Macon. They're all there. He's a football fan, kid. The sheriff's in her normal. We're just past the halfway mark on the episode, by the way. Is he supposed to be Black Hen? We don't really know. I like carrying my AR-15. Okay, got it. Caleb, good for you, man. I don't believe in that, but sure. Hal brought some beer, and the sheriff is like, I could use some. And he just, we saw this before. He just created a bottle opener as a construct with the ring. And there it goes. And yeah, trying to make amends with the sheriff. Apparently, the sheriff is not a big fan of her father-in-law. So she's like, Hal, you could just fly home and wish you never come to this place. And Hal's like, nope. My hollow from 10 years ago. I understand, Caleb. I know you meant it with sarcasm. But he's like, yeah, my hollow from 10 years ago said to be here. So I'm here. And now we meet Garrett Dillahunt. Will Macon. His hands are gunky with meat. He's preparing a big supper. Oh shit, that's a big piece of meat. Marine sniper. He looked up John. Apparently the guys didn't look up Macon. John is trust, Hal is arrogance. Having an interesting conversation. Got a nice place. He's just a caretaker. Who's he caretaking for? Yeah. Oh, NDA. It restricts him from discussing his employer. Macon work for somebody. Hal is guessing the government is watching him, waiting to bail to raid in and take everything away. He's like, this isn't about a wackadoo war with the feds. All right, Macon believes we bailed you out because of the goddamn aliens, and he just said the F word a couple of times. I think we're up to like 8, 9. He kind of buried the lead. He's aware there's aliens, sure. He's like, hey, the aliens are out there, and we're low fucking laying fruit. Sorry. Yeah. He's like, we need to be prepared for the space alien threats. That's why we have this militia, the Macon's saying. He's like, what do we need space cops for if it's peaceful out there? Got a point, Macon. Talking about colonization. Particularly bleak if you were the one getting colonized. It's an interesting perspective. Uh-huh. They believe that whatever happened, the mass shooting, is part of some kind of. They believe is part of an alien team that's here to like eventually colonize Earth, and so they're building a militia to fight whatever the aliens they believe are in Nebraska. Let's see. We got corn on the cob, bunch of meat off the grill. He's like, let's eat. We're gonna talk about stuff. Talk about stuff that may or may not be part of the NDA. So there we go. So the Macons basically are, yeah, the Macons, or Will Macon wants to have Hal's help with whatever they believe is going on with the mass shooting and they believe to be aliens. John goes over to talk to the kid, the young boy, who's trying to get the ball to go through the tire, doing some drills. He's like, don't aim, just imagine. So yeah, there we go. Jon Stewart maybe wants to mentor the kid. This is cool. I like this. I like this scene. Like, don't force it. Just don't overthink it. Let's see if the kid can make the pass. Oh, he did. That went through. This is working well. Now he tells the kid his dad used to shoot apples off his head. Now we got Grandma Macon. Who's Grandma Macon? Oh shit, Puna Jagannathan is Grandma Macon. Interesting. Zoe Macon. Interesting re-encounter after their last encounter in the car. And now John has her name that he asked her in the bar before they went at it in the car, and then she smoked the cigarette that he lit up with his lantern ring. So, got some food to go? Macon talked to the sheriff, convinced her to let him talk to the suspect at the precinct. Hal, that is. Hal doesn't trust Macon. He says, one of my boys almost got killed last night. Shot up by men he's never seen before. They both want to protect the planet from anybody not born on it. You know, on surface, that's good, but I have a feeling his compass is not exactly aiming the exact right direction there. But yeah. Apparently, Macon is... he seems to... I get the impression that Macon thinks Hal is the kind of trouble he can maybe control and predict. He doesn't quite know how to read John, so he doesn't trust John as much. Or he knows something about the Zoe. Yeah, there he's like, I might have slept with his wife. Might have. Ugh. He definitely slept with his wife. Hal is slick. And he apparently Macon might know. Apparently he knows. We've only been here 24 hours. This scene was shown at Comic-Con. Yep. Like, Christ, we have only been here 24 hours. Like, shit, man. Again, the humor is very understated relative to the other stuff. And, you know, they're in Nebraska, they're in the West, a lot of brown, not so much green yet. We got like a dozen F-bombs already, though, and clearly a lot of tension between these characters, even though one of them has superpowers. So. Violen Sanders apparently worked for his boss for 5 years. Dipshit from Kenmall. All right. Apparently, they did a full body checkup. No hidden antennae. Kind of like Men in Black references. Here's no alien hiding inside Valen's body. Ooh. Apparently, 14 species can pass MRIs, X-rays, and all kinds of scans, and can so basically the lanterns don't believe that this guy could still be an alien. All right. Sheriff is like, let's go talk to him. Or I guess Hal's going to go talk to him. This is exactly where we are. The image you're seeing on screen with me is where we are. Sheriff still doesn't believe that dude is an alien. John is like, yeah, John putting some wisdom down. We're all aliens, just depends on what planet we're standing on. They just made a Hal just made a reference. I imagine you just want to phone home, call home, I bet. ET reference. Sir. Valen's looking pretty scared right now. Yeah, talking about the game. Big rivalry. 2.5 hour drive of a team. They both love football. Did Pat McAfee just put out a music album? Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, Caleb. I'm not interested. Oh, he's grilling this Valen dude about the team that history that he's supposedly a fan of. So far, he's getting it right. First 200-yard rusher for the team. All right. First Heisman winner. Got that right. Now he's asking about Harry Potter. What was the name of the school in Harry Potter? And the dude is like, what? They only made like 22 of them, he says, the Harry Potter movies. That's the rub. He's not. Exactly. Hal is saying like, Hal is saying this guy knew everything about the dude. Yeah, he's now saying he's Lantern. Guardians of the Universe, 2814, Sector 2814, and he's just blaming him. He just blamed Wayland for being an alien, and the sheriff's still not believing it. Basically, Hal's theory is like this alien or potential alien. He's like body. He's pretending to be this Valen person, and so he knows about the assignment, the football game, and the team facts, but not the other things on Earth like Harry Potter movies and stuff. Sheriff doesn't think he's fearless. John seems to think Hal is fearless, so that's at least something he respects about him. Hey, you a nerd girl. I'm watching Lanterns right now. Got about 16 minutes left. Kelly Clarkson, Barack Obama. Asking him about that. Apparently, Valen knew that Barack was the president. Barack Obama was the president of the United States. Oh, getting a little political. Apparently, you're from Nebraska. That's your opinion of President Barack Hussein Obama. Apparently, the Valen. Apparently, he just described like, oh yeah, he was, the guy who followed George Bush, and on his birth certificate, his name was Barack Hussein Obama. Gives a very, very baseline answer, but now Valen seems to be giving in. Let's say hypothetically, he's an alien. Uh-oh. Maybe he's an alien. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. He might be a spy. Alien spy. Mm-mm. This guy just completely turned, but still only hypothetically. But mm, mm. Neutron device in his skeleton activated with a thought, as opposed to like a cyanide pill. If he wanted to not give up his secrets before dying. John's watching in private. We're on episode 1 right now. The premiere. He's like, "Oh, it's been more than 48 hours. Did you bring a lantern to recharge your ring? Is it enough to stop me from blowing up the town with the neutron bomb in my head?" The alien dude says. "For how much longer do we have the charge?" Clearly, this dude is an alien at this point. We know this dude is an alien. And he's saying, and we don't know if he's bluffing, that if you try to make me tell you the truth, I will just blow myself up. And he's like, the neutron bomb would blow up this entire town. So now it's just a matter of who's going to call who's bluff at this point. Uh-oh. This guy very much knows Hal Jordan. Blackest day, darkest. He's reading the oath to Hal, and Hal is not happy about this. Green Lantern's light. Uh-oh. He's mocking the oath, and Hal just put him up against the mirror. Ignorant alien fuck. That's like 13 F-bombs now. George is suffering on his own right now. I did give him the invite. Why are you here? Now there's a beeping sound. Why are you here? He's like, why? He's not giving his secrets up. Oh, and the dude just exploded, and Hal. Oh shit. Okay, we saw behind the scenes photos of this. Remember when they were shot in like this old western looking town, and there was a big explosion. Apparently, Hal's ring was a little low on charge. We got Billy Macon running across the street to see if his wife Sheriff is okay. So here we are. This is right where we are in the episode right now. The ring probably didn't have enough charge to contain the explosion entirely, but Hal survived. But it did blow a hole through the back wall of the police precinct, and he said, "Told you he was an alien." So Hal is alive, not dead yet, but they blew a hole through the precinct, and that dude is gone. He was an alien. He had a neutron bomb in his head that, if it wasn't protected by the Green Lantern orb that Hal constructed with his willpower, it would have wiped the town off the map. So we established that that school shooting, or at that football field, the mass shooting was involving aliens, and now camera pans to the sky and pans down, and we are in 2026. We got Jon Stewart driving in a truck, drinking out of a coffee mug and a thermos, and he's got a goatee, and he's driving in some frigid climate somewhere, and he's driving by a town that is completely, seems like it was destroyed off the map. I don't know if this is Nebraska, the same town. This looks like the ranch. This looks like the Macon Ranch, and John just drove past it. And it's snowing, so it's wintertime, not summer. And he's pulling up in his pickup truck to a sheriff. And so now, again, we're in 2026 now. We have moved forward. We have had at least 13 F-bombs in the show right now. So we don't, I mean, Hal, the last we saw, was alive. He survived the whole explosion thing that he was able to protect. But there's the sheriff. He's like, "You're barely aged." He's like a liar. I mean, 10 years has supposedly passed. Hal still looks, well, John still looks the same. The sheriff's boy grew up. He's on the high school team now, quarterback. He's good. He's all state. Nice. John is like happy because he was a bit of a mentor to him, it seems like. So a lot must have happened though. Like, anyone else know? Just the groundskeeper, the sheriff says, but know about what? This is I'm getting True Detective vibes in a good way right now. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. Like, they built that shit up. It's nothing that you haven't seen before, but I like the drama that was built up till that explosion. And then, yes, Hal was alive the last we saw him, but now we skip forward 10 years. We go back to that high school bench where they were at the game. We already went through all this stuff, the meeting at the ranch and stuff. So now we are back. We're back at the high school football field on the bleachers. The sheriff goes up and Hal Jordan is sitting there frozen in ice. Holy shit. What the fuck happened? He's literally just sitting there frozen, like, like DiCaprio was in the water at the end of Titanic, except, he floats into the water. But Hal is sitting there. He does not have the ring. And like he's frozen, like frozen solid. He didn't fall over. He's just sitting there frozen on the bench. And the whole field is covered with snow. It's snowing. It says "Go Pioneer" banner. Go Pioneers. But I guess this is what they meant, that by the end of the first episode, Hal Jordan is dead, because I mean he looks pretty dead to me there. But and that's the end of the episode. Credits roll. So did Hal get fridged? Maybe in a literal sense, I suppose he did. I'm gonna close this out so I can get back to. Well, I'm done watching the episode. So the credits rolled. I don't know if there's any post-credit scenes. Let me just quickly check. But I think they're gonna do like a oh, you know what? They're doing a whole this season on Lanterns. Let me watch this, and then we'll talk. So I'm gonna watch the this season on Lanterns. I'm just skipping forward a little bit. But Hal is frozen in the same field we already went to, but not where we last saw him in 2016. Man, Woman, and Child Productions. DC Studios. We got the logo at the end. So, got the blue logo on a brown textured background. We get all the Warner Brothers logo. We get the HBO logo. We get translation credits, localization stuff. Let's get past some of this. This season on HBO on Lanterns, something is off here. Hal could feel it. All right, so apparently there were 4 dead aliens on the football pitch. Another one blew up half the sheriff's station. And so Hal is like, John, you gotta unclench. Like, you gotta, because Hal has done this before, so he's like, okay, man. This is, by the way, this is just a montage of what we're gonna be getting in the upcoming episode. So Hal is like very calm in the moment, and John is not. Now there's a big town hall meeting that they have to show up to, which we have seen before. The sheriff's like, everything feels like it's about to explode for no good reason. We see Hal standing in front of a fire. And Macon was at this town hall meeting. Hal is saying, I knew there was something about this place in my gut, and his gut is never wrong. Apparently John is saying there's an interplanetary war criminal hiding here in Rushville. What's the town? In Rushville. What does this thing want? They don't know. But if the aliens waltz into town, they're gonna blow themselves up. They're all these spies with like bombs in their heads. Apparently, the aliens are dead, but yet they linger. Macon's not happy about it, but Hal thinks that Macon is hiding something on his property that he doesn't want them to see. Apparently, they do end up finding. They go and they do some research, and in one of the barns, they find high-tech weapons that are clearly not Earth-made, or only made with Earth technology. So Hal is, and apparently these are some of the most dangerous beings to ever exist. So this is getting intense. Okay, so apparently somebody's saying you have 48 hours to identify the manhunter. And then this we see John getting whatever that orange fluid and punched into his head. He's like, no reason for more lives to be lost. Sheriff saying, you're only gonna get one shot at this, do not miss. So I guess maybe Hal missed, and we get to see John meet Laura Linney's guardian, the founder of the Lanterns. And we see a little bit of maybe like when Baby Jordan's parents were in, met with a guardian when he was like a baby, and baby John Stewart, not Jordan, baby John Stewart apparently was chosen by the Guardians. So his parents were told that he's going to be a Green Lantern. And she's like, "Do you know why you were chosen?" Or he's like, "Do you know who I am?" He's like, "You're a Guardian." Huh? Yeah. She's like, do you know, this is where most people ask why me? And he's like, "I know exactly why me." So John again believes in himself. We see a big Green Lantern like dome over a motel here. I wonder what he's like. What do you think of Hal Jordan? And now we see John looking at in the mirror with the suit from, I'm guessing, Hal's closet. So this might be post Hal getting fridged. And he's like, "What do you think about Hal Jordan?" And John is like, "I don't think about him." Apparently, Hal thinks John is too weak to bear the massive power of the ring. They're walking in now. We get this is an interesting shot. Apparently, like there's some tunnel with like a glowing lantern thing or some other alien technology. Apparently, the Guardian told John that Hal broke a vow, and Hal is like, "It's above your pay grade." Now, apparently, this is where we get our first look at in this preview with Guy Gardner, and Guy Gardner's like, the first time he met Hal Jordan, he was also in prison because he's talking to John while he's in prison, saying after the shit show you guys put on. We see the shot with like the orbs and the meat locker or something with lasers. We get Zoe again. John trying to figure out if he can trust really Will Macon, and is always like, "You already know the answer." Guessing that's a no. We get to see these guys on that orange alien planet, whatever that thing is in the air. You find skulls on the ground. Can't tell if it's human skulls. And Laura Linney's Guardian's asking, "Would you be comfortable replacing Hal Jordan?" And John is like, "Doesn't matter if I'm comfortable with it." And now Will Macon is saying killing a lantern would trigger a large response, and it looks like we're gonna get a lot more of Guy than I think I realized. There's apparently like a lantern light, like in the sky thing that they meet at. Okay, that's interesting. So like they got like a bat signal, like a lantern signal. Hal's like, "I don't need a sidekick." Apparently this town got wrecked by the alien lasers at one point in Nebraska, blowing up buildings. And Hal's like, "The only way you're gonna get this ring is over my dead effing body." We go to the oh shit. Okay, we're gonna see the Guardians, like the Guardians wherever they hang out. And apparently they're saying, Hal's actions have accelerated the inevitable replacement of him. Maybe we get to see Sinestro with the mustache, and we get back to Nebraska. More going on than we realize. It looks like Macon is working with whatever these aliens are, and Sheriff trying to get these guys out of town before they get themselves killed by these aliens. Then we skip to the present day, and it looks like some shit went sideways, and maybe, John is trying to figure that out with Guy, and Guy is the lantern of the moment. And there's a lot of stuff I'm guessing we're gonna see as the show goes along. Every episode, twists and turns. Apparently, at one point, both of the guys, John and Hal, are gonna get on the same page and try to like work the problem and realize that maybe both the Guardians and the Manhunters and whichever other alien race is involved, they're all out to get, try to mess things up, and nobody's truly holding up the oath of the lanterns, and John gets the John gets the Guardian's uh, blessing to go get the lantern ring. I don't know what that means by killing Hal. At one point, Hal and John will get into a big ass fisticuffs, and then John will get to walk away with the backpack and the lantern battery, only to get confronted by everybody in guns in town. I'm guessing that's Macon's militia in Nebraska and Rushville. So, and then there's a behind the scenes stuff, which I'm not going to get into. Behind the scenes featurette, which we've seen before. So, all right, a lot to explore. One question I have is, Caleb saying, did goddamn Mr. Freeze get him? Probably not. Hello, Trey. Why the fuck is Hal frozen on the bench? I don't know. That's a good question. By the way, first, before I deal with that question, dude, they're implying in this, like, coming up on this season of Lanterns that literally Laura Linney's Guardian is like, oh, you gotta go get the ring because we don't think Hal is, the right man. He broke some kind of oath. And John says it is an excellent insomnia cure. Good for you, John. But I thought this episode was fantastic. So does John get the Guardians, or do the Guardians get John to kill Hal? Like literally kill Hal and get the ring off of him? This is, man, that'd be intense. But I mean, again, getting the True Detective vibe. Trey saying, why the F did Hal for Jordan frozen on the bench? That is a very interesting question, because in the whole looking ahead trailer, they show the alien lasers and, like, they come together and then that blows up whatever is under the lasers, and so they're blowing up literal entire buildings, or in this town. Hal's death by description reminds me of fridging, which is a term in A Hero's Wife who loved her. No, well, yeah, except he's not in a fridge, but yeah, he's like on a bench. That woman is definitely someone. You're talking about Zoe, or are you talking about the sheriff, or are you talking about Laura Linney? Because Laura Linney is one of the guardians of the universe. We know Laura Linney is one of the, we see like the transformation bit shot that we've seen in trailers where they came over to John's parents when he was still a baby and said, I guess your boy's gonna one day become a lantern. Too many days since January, Steven says. I don't know in what reference, in what context, Steven. Yeah, yeah, you gotta get on it, Human Nerd Girl. This show looks fantastic. So far, this show looks fantastic. Steven asking, this is a good win for DC coming off Supergirl. Wouldn't you agree? I agree. I know, like John just said, look, John texted me saying, I'll give you the show this. It is an excellent insomnia cure. I don't know if he means I don't know if he means that as a compliment, because I thought it was fantastic. I thought this episode was fantastic. I think this is a big win for DC. This sets up plenty of mysteries. I mean, the first episode alone, if you don't watch this season on Lanterns, that trailer that they put in after that HBO always does, even if you don't watch that look ahead trailer, I think this episode sets up enough mystery. The biggest mystery they set up is they skipped to 2026 from 2016 in like the last 5 minutes, and the investigation was just hotting up. Like literally an alien just blew himself up and Hal survived it in the precinct, but clearly we knew that, okay, so whatever's going on is clearly alien, and these aliens are clearly very powerful, potentially manhunters, which we will talk about more as the week goes on DCU Daily. But the mystery that they set up here was plenty powerful enough, even before we get to the look ahead trailer. But the look ahead trailer kind of implies a lot of other things. But this is a big win for DC. I think this looks like a proper HBO show, and very much getting True Detective vibes. But I can only think of that as a good thing right now, the way they're going about it, because we're seeing enough of the cosmic lantern elements. Again, it's fairly understated in the first episode. You see very few constructs. They didn't show the construct of the bubble wrap that John uses to help save himself from the car crash. They just show you the car crashing. I'm guessing the bubble wrap construct was inside, so you don't really get to see a camera angle from inside as the car is crashing and John is saving himself. Maybe they saved money on it. Maybe they were like, it's not necessary, because we do get the construct of the money, the dollar bill. We get like the bottle opener construct from Hal. The hologram thing, is definitely a setup for maybe like, whoever has the ring, where the Hal's hologram could still talk to Hal post his death maybe. But it doesn't feel so when but the one key thing I forgot to mention at the end of the episode, yeah, Chuck Rod, I agree with you. This show is fire. Two ice over if I go off your emoji as a rating. But yeah, it's remember when he's frozen on the bench at the end, John brushes the snow off his hand, and Hal is not wearing a lantern ring. And it clearly also, like, why would he be doing that if John didn't already have the ring? So John Stewart doesn't have the ring in 2016, uh, but he seems to know the sheriff really well. The sheriff's kid is still around and is on the high school football team now. Um, we're in the dead of winter. The high school football team still plays, but I don't know what that means for like the elephant in the room, as in the frozen Hal Jordan on the bench. Like, I'm pretty sure people would notice if there was a football game happening there. So I don't know what the current state of that town is in 2026, but clearly, the sheriff is there. Maybe they're in a different town. Maybe like that's a town that's kind of like lost to history kind of thing. There's examples of that in real world, towns that got evacuated for various natural disasters and whatnot. So I'm guessing Will Macon is going to be one of those big bads, even though he's meant to be probably a human character, not like an alien inside a human. But he's clearly involved in a lot of this. He might even be working with the aliens. At one point in the look ahead trailer, we see that he's got a device on his bench which has the same laser weapon that, like 5 red lasers turning into one to kill a dude or thing. So he's working with the alien. Is he an alien himself? I don't know. But the fact that at the end of the episode, Hal doesn't have the ring, clearly John wouldn't be looking for it if he already had it. That must mean that, yeah, the only operating lantern at that time is Guy Gardner, who we don't see in this episode, but we see in the look ahead trailer, and he meets him for the first time. Guy meets John for the first time in prison, which he says that's the first time he met Hal as well. I wonder if we're gonna get to see that. When did Guy become a lantern? Is he the only lantern? Are there 2 rings? Is there only 1 ring? And then there's apparently a lantern signal, like the bat signal in that town that I mean, that sounds like very much a Guy Gardner thing to do. So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff. More important, who has the ring, because neither Hal or Jordan is wearing it. Right, exactly. So John and Hal don't have the ring by the end of this episode when we skip ahead to 2026. So we haven't seen this sequence here with the whole, the bird construct. So we haven't seen that yet. But I'm guessing that I'm just guessing here that they're gonna say, okay, Guy is the present day Lantern, which is in line with what we saw in Superman and Peacemaker. But what about the other ring? Because clearly we've seen the Guy Gardner ring looks different. Now I know the rings could maybe be turned into looking something like the ring designs don't have to match, but is it even the same ring? What happened to Hal? How did he get frozen up? There's a lot. There's a lot here to unpack, and obviously a good mystery that they have set up here. The episode sounded fine, but the ending is meant to be a holy effing moment. By the way, I think if I counted my F bombs correctly, there were like 14 different ones, and if you count like what happened in the car with Zoe and John, then that's metaphorically 15. But like in terms of like dialogue, so John is very much in his like head with this. I would say John just texted me saying, I mean, if you have the worst taste possible and know nothing about Green Lantern, then like sure, I guess, but I'm halfway through and I want to put a effing gun in my mouth. Sure, John. I'm just gonna say, get out of your head and enjoy the show for what it is. It's just a pilot episode. We are starting slow here. The cosmic stuff will come. Even the guys, even the 2011 movie started with regular human stuff, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Maybe they did show us maybe they did show us. Did they show us Sinestro early on? I don't know. Anyway, this episode sounded great to me. Caleb, you should go watch it. The ending does leave you off with a great mystery. I'm gonna text Sean again. The ending of the episode does leave a great cliffhanger So yeah, great first episode. I agree with you, Grebel, Ema Nerd Girl. I am excited for you to go watch it. Leave your expectations at the door, enjoy it for what it is, and it's okay if you don't like it. Again, I will always be like, if you don't like it, that's fine. To each their own. I thoroughly enjoyed the episode, and I didn't even watch it with my home theater sound system. I'm gonna go rewatch this thing again in a few minutes after we get off the stream. It's hard to keep up when you don't start from episode one. I know, even to go. So if you start from the very beginning, and I mean, there's doing one episode a week, so they're not doing like a 2, 3 episode premiere. There's only 8 episodes. What I did notice when the episode started is they said Lanterns airing Sundays 10 p.m. Eastern time, which previously was 9 p.m. Eastern time. I don't know if are we about to go through like a daylight savings time? I don't think we're doing a daylight savings switch anytime soon. So I guess starting next week, episodes will be at 10 p.m., not 9 p.m. I don't know why the change, but there you go. We'll see. But initially they said 9 p.m. every week. Now they're saying 10. I just noticed that on HBO it mentioned before the show started 10 p.m. Sunday. So just know that it may be an hour later than you expect. So, which is fine. It's still like a relatively reasonable time. These episodes are roughly an hour on the dot. This was a little over an hour if you add up all the credits, but like the actual runtime without credits was under an hour. Who's James Gunn's son? Oh, you mean the kid? Are you talking about the kid, the sheriff's kid? I don't know. Does James Gunn have a son? I don't know if James Gunn has has kids. I don't know, emo nerd girl, if you're referring to something specific. Chuck Rod saying like the way Hal referred he got the ring the old-fashioned way instead of an interview. Right. He got it from the who is in the comic mythology the bald pink alien that why am I forgetting his name? Who crashes and like they showed this whole sequence in the 2011 movie when Ryan Reynolds gets the ring and Taika Waititi's in there, his friend. The dying alien like pulls him out of his bedroom and flying in a green orb and says the ring chose you. The one interesting thing that Hal said about the ring was like he learned that Sector 2814 Earth is like the backwater shithole of Sector 2814 on the outer edges, fringes. So it's very unlikely that they would choose a lantern for this sector from Earth, especially because also Earth is like relatively weak sauce in the galactic scale of things in terms of like we don't really have super advanced technology. We're not spacefaring, like not beyond our own solar system at least, and even then we mostly just explore our general immediate surroundings, not really the entire solar system for the most part either. So Hal is like, if I was chosen as the lantern, this backwater shithole of a planet that is Earth in Sector 2814, unlike the MCU where everything is sort of happens around Earth being the center of that universe. It seems like for the Lanterns and the Guardians of the Universe, Earth is just like some relatively unknown, not very much mattering planet, or maybe it will become one down the road. So Hal said like, hey, there was a reason for this. So I took that seriously. He said, I'm not afraid. That's what he was asked. And so Hal takes his job seriously. And at one point in the episode, John Stewart does say to Hal, or does to the sheriff that, hey, I'll give him that. He's fearless. So John may not like completely agree that Hal is the right man for the job or still is the right man for the job, but he does believe and respects that. Sorry, John does believe and respect that Hal is fearless. So we at least so there's some level of respect there. Maybe not all respect. Maybe I mean, they're clearly two very different personalities. John is very much like a military man. Is like he was out to do things. He very much believes he was chosen for this job because he was by the Guardians. But the look ahead trailer where they describe the whole. And not describe, they imply that the Guardian that Laura Linney plays literally told him to go get the ring from Hal to get into a physical fisticuffs in a motel, and it seems like John gets the upper hand on Hal in a fist fight, and then he's walking away from that. But like when he's walking away with and when he's fighting him with like in his I think he's wearing like cost he's wearing something that you would wear either when you're in a prison or in a medical facility, like I think it was like some gray or light blue thing. Basically, I think we have the image from it in one of the promotional stuff, and he's walking around with that image right there. He's in that he's when John and Hal get into a fight in that look ahead trailer. That's what John is dressed up as, and he literally throws Hal through a wall in that motel room, and then he's walking in the middle of the street in this town where clearly some building just got blown up, and he's got Hal a bag. I don't know whose bag that is, but he's got the lantern battery. I imagine that's Hal's lantern battery. So, but I don't imagine that's when he killed Hal, and I imagine Hal got the ring back eventually. Because like, how do you explain Hal frozen on the bench and John still looking for the ring on Hal, right? So there's whatever happened there. Maybe that's not where Hal dies, and maybe John is not the one to do it. And eventually the ring is, or he still is, because he doesn't have the ring in this scene, unless he might actually. I think he's wearing the ring. He's wearing the ring. He's got the battery, but eventually Hal has it back with him before we get the fridging situation. So Chuck saying, yeah, we already went through that comment. Caleb saying, I'll give it a chance from your descriptions. What the actual fuck? Yeah, dude. There's if you love good mystery making, this show has it for you. And the first episode is a very strong hook, and then the look ahead trailer pulled me all the way in. I'm like, I'm here for it. I'm the kind of guy who sometimes waits weeks to like batch up episodes and then watch them in quick succession. But here I am. Kelly McDonald doing a great job so far as the sheriff. And yeah, I mean, Aaron Pierce got the pecs. He's got the pecs. The man looks the part. This whole sequence was great. Again, I feel like the characterization of Hal Jordan is good here. He's fearless. He's cocky. He's also got a bit of wisdom, but he's very sure of himself. But he's too sure of himself. So again, they're asking all the questions like, Hal clearly knows what he's doing, or seems to know what he's doing. He had the right hunch that this was involving aliens, and I mean, not that the sheriff didn't, but Hal being there is something that's clearly made, the sheriff's father-in-law, Will Macon, very uncomfortable, played by Garrett Dillahunt. It's just, there's a lot going on. We don't get Guy Gardner yet, but we clearly will see this shot in one of the future episodes. We don't get to see Hal Jordan wearing the suit yet, which he only pulls out for special occasions, saying at one point that when you're older, you have wisdom, you only pull out the suit for special occasions, because you don't need to have the suit on all the time just to prove yourself. So he doesn't have it on, just he only takes it out, so he goes around wearing his normal street clothes most of the time. It doesn't make him any less of a lantern, at least in his opinion. We don't see Sinestro yet in this episode, but in the look ahead trailer, they do show a Sinestro, not the one in prison. They show a Sinestro who, it seems like he's on an alien planet, and he's all out of sorts. And I don't know if that's when Hal captured him or whatever the case was, but I think Purna Jagannathan's Zoe was an outstanding part of the episode so far, like seemingly walking like, because she has sex with John in the car, lights up a cigarette off of his ring, clearly knows more than she's letting on, and John seems to to fall for it in the beginning, and then realizes that Zoe is a lot more of an important figure than he realized once they go into the ranch. And then apparently Bill Macon seems to know that all this went down, so you got to wonder whose side is Zoe really on. It's a chilling hook, literally and figuratively, Caleb. But the Zoe character, again, it's like every character has more than they're letting on to say and to do in this show so far. And so again, there's a lot of elements here. There was no character introduced so far that wasn't interesting. And clearly, again, a very, very good mystery so far. And Hunter Iggy, my thoughts on Hal Jordan dying. I don't know how he died. I mean, he's literally frozen in ice, but like, even if you're frozen in ice, wouldn't you like fall over or something? He's literally just frozen there. And like, maybe it's just winter time that keeps him sitting there, but like, how long has he been out there? How did he get there? Was he found there frozen? Like, why did the sheriff call him? Like, the why now? Why now? Apparently they talk about it like, who else knows, like, in town, that Hal is just randomly frozen sitting there on the bench. I don't know. Is he even dead? Technically, is he, or is he just frozen? Like, can he be revived? Like what? Like what? There's a lot of questions you gotta wonder. Were the Macons involved? Was it the Manhunters? Like, what is going on here? And it seems like the sheriff called 2026 Jon Stewart into town, who walks in with the goatee and looking like 6 feet tall, dark and handsome, and they're going to investigate. So it looks like we're going to see parallel mysteries both in the present day and in the past, and eventually the dots will connect, and at some point they'll go into alien planets. We saw at least this alien planet from the trailers in the look ahead trailer. We saw another alien planet where we see Sinestro before he's in prison. We don't see the prison, in that this apparently might be part of a sequence where they're staying at this might be at Jon Stewart's house. So yeah, I'm really hello MTG. I'm willing to bet that Jon Stewart isn't the person who killed Hal, even though the dude literally get into a fight that's pretty insane. So tensions do boil over. They don't agree on a lot. There's very few times they agree on anything, and Hal seems to think that John was a bit reckless, getting into it with Zoe, not realizing who Zoe is, just 24 hours into the town, where clearly they're going to be sticking around for a while to investigate whatever's going on. They discover alien-looking weapons, or at least Earth-looking guns that are alien technology enhanced. So the Macon's militia is more than just like they seem to put up a front that they're working for some employer who's NDA'd them to not disclose what they're doing, but the Macon seems to imply when they meet him at the ranch that they're preparing for a future war with aliens. Meanwhile, their weapons are made with partly or enhanced with alien tech. So whose side are the Macons or is Macon's militia really on? Uh, it just looks like a great mystery so far. MTG. Here's the thing: some shows the mystery comes up really good in the beginning, but then eventually you realize because the show is really not giving up too much, you're like, oh, they really don't have too much else to say. Oh no, like I haven't. It's this episode didn't give me any of that. Like, and usually it takes a few episodes to figure that out. Like, I'll give you a good like Falling Skies back in the day was a show where like I was like I hope we eventually get to the big alien fights and stuff and like woo we beat the aliens and like got our planet back and it never quite you knew they didn't know how to land the plane because the show was really just about like people surviving in the aftermath of an alien invasion, and that's really what that was. That's when the show was at its best. They didn't know how to land the plane. Manifest didn't know how to land the plane, and then they just kind of like swirled out of control. La Brea, another one. When there's a lot of those kind of shows, this is not doesn't feel like that right now. This show feels like they know their end point because we know Jon Stewart's going to be in Man of Tomorrow. We know Guy is going to be around likely. Um, Although Guy hasn't been confirmed for Man of Tomorrow, so who knows? But uh, so yeah, I love a good mystery. I like you, MTG, and I feel like so far it looks like they know where they're going and they've set up. They've done a lot of setups, and that's what a good pilot episode should do. There's a lot of horses in this episode. Emo Nerd Girl, they're in Nebraska. It's I don't know if it's exactly Yellowstone country, but it is definitely the Midwest or the West. Caleb saying, "How's that? Just sounds goofy as hell. Hopefully, it's way more chilling in execution." Right. Well, it's not. It's goofy only if you're hearing me describe it. Just imagine that high school stadium thing with the bleachers, and it's all covered with snow. It's at night. It's snowing like crazy, not like a blizzard, but it's snowing pretty heavily. And Hal is just sitting there like this with the same jacket and stuff. Not this, by the way, is now we know that's the hologram Hal, but this outfit, like the more ragged khaki jacket, and he's just sitting there like he hasn't aged since 2016. So something happened. How did he end up there? Is he even dead? Like I'm willing to bet he might not even be dead. That might just be a red herring. Like alien tech. Maybe he's frozen. Maybe he's in some form of hibernation. Whatever. It's interesting. I mean, at the very least, I can see them bringing him back through the hologram in the ring. So it's a great setup for that. Hello, Swag fan. I wonder who had the ring now. I'm thinking the ring in the present day is with our very own Guy Gardner. So I think that's where the ring currently is because I'm like, clearly John checked to see if Hal had it and he didn't. We're gonna probably get to the part where John is clearly emotionally disturbed and investigating stuff, and if he's using a gun, he doesn't have the ring. We get to probably see more of the backstory. We get to see Laura Linney's guardian, but I'm willing to bet that Guy Gardner is our Lantern in the present day, which is exactly where we were with Superman and everything. So the reveal of Hal's death was well done. I think it was well done, but again, guys, I'm willing to bet that this may just be something to throw us off. I don't know if he's dead, right? Like he's literally like the way they find him, Caleb. If you want to know the visual, is like this shot, except like he's like this with one hand up, and it's completely frozen in the middle of a snowstorm. And like obviously, Hal is the only one sitting there, and you see a I don't know, like 10-year older version of Jon Stewart and the sheriff popping in and checking in on him because apparently the sheriff found him, called over Hal, and Hal is like, does the town know? Doesn't seem like the secret's gone out yet, but obviously the town probably went through a lot between 2016 to 2026. It's a great first episode. It is a great guys. If you have seen it, drop your ratings in the chat, and if you have more questions, we'll talk through it. If you guys want to drop in your ratings, your questions, and answers, we're having a conversation here. Johnny Dome saying hello, Johnny, saying if John doesn't die at the end, very end, Guy might teach John something. Remember, John assumed there was only one ring. John assumed it, but I think also the way Hal described it, John, like, they don't lead us to believe that there's more than one ring or more than one lantern. My cat's calling. Hey, what's up, Georgie? You okay? She's probably got a spring under a piece of furniture. But yeah, it doesn't. I mean, whatever. I mean, it seems like throughout the show, throughout this episode at least, Hal's trying to say that John, like, I don't need a backup. You know, Zoe calls him a backup quarterback. John is clearly being trained by the Guardians. The Guardians seem like they don't trust Hal. Maybe I'm this is Dan's theory time. Maybe the Guardians don't trust Hal, and in the Look Forward trailer we find out that when John tells Hal, like, the Guardians think you broke an oath, or the oath maybe, which, by the way, the Wayland guy recites to him mockingly before he blows himself up. That Hal survives in this episode. But I'm guessing that Hal, whatever went on with Sinestro, caused the Guardians to think Hal is not right for the job. Maybe Hal didn't kill Sinestro, something, because Sinestro is obviously in like a lantern prison. And then because of that, the Guardians want to replace Hal as the Lantern. I don't know. I feel like they're not going to make the Guardians look like the all-knowing, well-intentioned, on the right side of the moral compass. So, and maybe John will discover that the hard way and realize that Hal was right all along with what he was trying to do, and why he wasn't very trusting of other powers that be. So yeah, and maybe that's the reason why maybe he realizes that the Guardians will manipulate. John realizes that the Guardians are manipulating him into taking the ring off Hal, and Hal is, like, obviously raging against the machine, metaphorically. And then something happens where both guys are taken out of the equation somehow. Maybe the Manhunters are part of it, the aliens that maybe own Macon's militia and are giving him alien tech. And as a result of that, the Guardians pick Guy Gardner, who becomes our present-day Lantern, a dude who's very happy to have his face on a Wheaties cereal box and make a lot of sponsorship money and work for the corporate justice gang, and create a Green Lantern signal that shines into the night sky. I'm guessing that's where things might be headed. But even knowing that Hal dies in the first episode, much like you, M2G, I was taken off guard with the way they show it. And I'm gonna say it, I don't think Hal is quite dead. It's throwing us off a little bit. Hello, President Clamp. Good evening. But I think Hal may not be dead after all. I'm willing to bet that's not him dead. I'm guessing we're gonna find out. Am I forgetting something? They pull out a dead body in a morgue at one point. I don't know if that was meant to be. Was that meant to be in the post credits look ahead trailer they do? And I can't remember if that was Hal's body or not. So I don't think we've seen, like, yeah. I'm gonna go with my theory that Hal is not dead. Was there a gunshot wound to his head while he was frozen? All right, M2G, we gotta do some hunting here. Was there? I'm gonna go back to the ending sequence. Oh shit. Okay, never mind. My theory goes out the window. There is a literal gunshot wound over the left eye of Hal Jordan, where he's sitting frozen with the blood spilling down his head. But why is he frozen? So there's a gunshot wound that clearly shows that the dude is dead. So yeah, Hal is dead. Forget what I was saying. So Hal is dead. Thank you, M2G, for pointing that out. But yeah, Hal is dead. I don't know. I mean, James Gunn said they don't bring those characters back to life, so I guess he's gone. Maybe only the hologram will survive. If he can find his ring, that is. What's your prediction for Sinestro's role in the series? Okay, President Clamp. So I think Sinestro is only going to be in there to, like, for some of the flashbacks with the younger Hal Jordan, which we see with, like, the leather jacket rather than, like, the khaki one. I think we're gonna see him in the prison. We're gonna see him on the alien planet. So we're gonna do flashbacks with a younger Hal. We're probably gonna get into the 2016 timeline where he's in prison, and I'm thinking whatever the backstory is between Hal and Sinestro is gonna tie into the Guardians wanting to replace Hal with John Stewart. And so I think he's just gonna be like in a prison talking to him and stuff. And some of the maybe like how Hal got Sinestro into prison or whatever the case might be. Because I think they're gonna expand on the idea of like Sinestro was his mentor for Hal, and obviously things didn't end well. But I don't think we're gonna see Sinestro using lantern powers or anything like that too much. So I'd be surprised. It seems like Erlich Thompson will play a role, but probably a relatively minor role. That's my guess right now. That's my guess. President Trump saying this is already a good start, something the DC needs right now. I agree with you guys 100%. So now I'm going to go through your ratings, and then I'll give mine. President Clamp said I gave it a high 7 out of 10. Can go lower or higher depending on what happens. Yeah, 7 out of 10 is pretty good. Again, because it's a mystery that they're setting up, I agree with you that it's a little bit of a wait and see approach. Like we've got to see how this plays out, because that 7 out of 10 could go up. But I think if you were to judge this episode, I think for me, 7 out of 10 is a fair score. That's not my score. I'll get into that later. But I think just for this episode, that Gribble gave it a 8 out of 10, saying great first episode, setting up the rest of the season. Absolutely. Absolutely. Like the biggest job of the premiere episode, the pilot episode, has to be pull the audience in with the mystery, get them interested in the characters, and leave them wanting more. And I kid you not, even if you didn't love the episode, I bet you want to know what the fuck happened between 2016 and 2026, because the last time you saw Hal Jordan, alive and kicking, despite, that big alien explosion that he saved with his lantern ring, how did we go from that to him having a bullet in his head and frozen on the same high school bench that we saw him 10 years prior at the beginning of the episode? Investigating the start of this whole mystery that his hologram from 10 years before told him about. So I'm guessing maybe this all ties back to Sinestro in a way where Sinestro maybe told a young Hal about this, and then the young Hal because remember, reading between the lines a little bit, I'm going to get into the ratings in a little bit more later, but if you read between the lines throughout the episode in terms of what Hal's backstory is, the last hologram upload tells him we get ourselves uploaded as a backup and as a hologram into the ring on a weekly basis. I believe he said weekly or monthly. I think it was a weekly basis. But the last time Hal did it was 10 years ago. 10 years ago from 2016. So the last time Hal trusted the system, he kind of describes it as like a cloud or something like that. Metaphorically, whatever technology the lantern uses to back up the wearer of the rings, essence or mind or whatever. Kind of like Jor-El uploads himself into the ship that he sends to Earth that Henry Cavill discovers. It's a version of him from when he was uploaded, but obviously the real Jor-El has died at that point. Similar to that, but Hal Jordan stopped doing those weekly uploads 10 years ago. And remember at the beginning when we first see them meet in that car, Hal is like, yeah, I bet you're wondering why I disappeared for 2 weeks, came over, then called you and I was all hungover. It was like I was apparently on an alien planet stopping a civil war, and I'm hungover from partying so hard from the celebration. How much of that is true, we don't know. But clearly this Hal Jordan Green Lantern has really, it seems like, gone off the reservation. Not the reservation in the sense maybe for the right or the wrong reasons. Maybe he doesn't trust the system, so he's operating outside of the Lantern core system. So what happened there? Did he fall out with the Guardians? Are the Guardians not who they seem to be? Are they corrupt? Like, what is going on? Clearly it's hinting at a lot more than we'd find out right now, and I feel like that's going to be a big part of things. And John, on the other hand, seems to be like, I was chosen by the Lantern when I was a baby. I've been training for this my whole life. I want to do things my way. My way is the right way. And clearly, like, you are reckless, and therefore I need to take over. So I'm guessing that, John is going to get humbled by Hal, maybe unwittingly so at some point, but not before they actually end up in many of fights, verbally and physically. I'm hoping Hal's not dead, but I mean, the bullet hole to the head might be undoable. But yeah, I mean, Kyle Chandler plays Hal perfectly for the version that we're getting to see here. I think the response to Hal's death as being a form of show sabotage was greatly exaggerated. Yeah, yeah. I mean, again, whoever leaked it, I don't know if their intention was to like ruin the hype around the show, but clearly, like honestly, if you knew, or like a lot of you guys who have been following this show who watch DCU Daily, you went into this knowing that Hal was gonna die at the end of the episode. And I think several of you have said that it didn't make a difference in your level of enjoyment, because the good mystery when done right is enjoyable to watch until you find out what is actually going on. Remember, in that look ahead trailer, we hear Vil Macon, played by Garrett Dillahunt, who may or may not be Black Hand, saying that he says, like, killing a lantern would generate a pretty large response. So clearly the intention for him is to maybe like kill Hal Jordan. So did he kill Hal Jordan? I would say, based on the look ahead trailer, him or his militia are prime suspects, especially because we realize that these two guys, Hal and John, eventually start investigating him, find out their stash of weapons, realize these weapons are too advanced to be just Earth-based technology. So he would have every reason to do it, and it seems like he's in with the alien species with the red laser tech, because he even targets one of his own men who's clearly not getting the job done in that look ahead trailer. So there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that are already in front of us, which we can use to like form, some theories about what's to come. Yeah, it's obviously part of the mystery. Yes. Guy ring looks different in Superman, so if they didn't change it, then there's two rings. Right. Exactly. If I go to where's the shot? I don't know how much detail you see if you zoom into that shot. That still looks like a different ring. Maybe they have a second Green Lantern because Superman exists as a hero. Maybe the ring went missing, and so the Guardians just chose a new lantern. Because John and Hal don't have it. But I love that this show is definitely so far delivering on the DC. I think he's delivering on the DCU promise. Like, it's made, and the reviewers who, like, the press who got the first 7 episodes, they were saying, 4 episodes in, this show really starts to sing. You can see the whole premise of the DCU come into focus. And if you remember, a while ago, this is now maybe a couple of years ago, James Gunn said Lanterns is really the show that will give you the hint at what the big overarching villain arc is, or like the overarching arc of the Gods and Monsters chapter 1 of the DCU is. Lanterns is going to be the first look at what the big picture of chapter 1 Gods and Monsters is. There's one shot in the look ahead trailer where both John and Hal walk into some tunnel with like spinny, like lantern looking tech of some kind. So maybe that's some secret, like, lanterns technology that they weren't supposed to find. There's a lot that they give you there to work with. Like, I'm sure we'll be able to look into the photos of all that stuff on tomorrow's show on Monday, but I just wanted to talk about it today as we react to the episode. Yeah, Chuck, he did have a bullet hole in his head. We talked about that with Hal. FGG saying, I still hope he's not really dead. Perhaps it's a Manhunter. It could be. That could be it. Maybe it's a Manhunter, like, because they're shapeshifters, right? So maybe it could be that. That scene when he was interrogating the guy was great. That scene was perfect, especially the way they ratchet things up. It's like, then the dude immediately, like, when the dude turns and he's like, hypothetically, if I was working for like an alien thing, and if this would be way above your pay grade, and if I was to be exposed to, your the Green Lantern organization, then, I would have something that I would do everything in my power. And he's like, you're not thinking big enough. Like, he's saying whatever is going on here goes well beyond this town. And so Hal always was on the money. That interrogation scene went well. The music, the soundtrack, really, the score plays into it quite well as in that scene as well. And then eventually we get to the whole explosion thing. People are like, oh, that's when Hal died. And then, like, they throw you off. Hal pops out from behind the window, the broken window glass, and he's like, he's still alive. So, like, in this here, so clearly we know when we leave him in 2016, he's alive. Yeah, he's a shapeshifter, doesn't have a ring. That could be it. Maybe Hal went into hiding with the ring. I may be wrong, but I think Sinestro ring went to Guy in the comics. If that is the case, Johnny Dome, that would explain why Guy has a ring, and maybe why John Stewart's still looking for the actual Green Lantern ring, which is in this shot we see he's wearing it after he survives the car crash. That was a test by Hal. Chuck saying 9 out of 10, saving the extra point for the total series. I think that's a fantastic score. Smacky gave it a 9 out of 10 as well. What is tuned into the whole episode? Yeah, it's 9 out of 10 is a great score. I'm all in on this show. 9 out of 10 M2G. Agreed. Smacky gave it a 9 out of 10 after finishing the whole episode. Stan saying banger, we are so back. I agree with you guys. I think so. I think this is in every which way, just for an hour long episode and not a full 8 episode season. But so far, in every which way, this feels like a huge improvement on what we got from Supergirl. Apples to oranges in a lot of ways, but that Supergirl movie did have a lot of Western elements. This does it way better so far. I like the True Detective, like grounded approach, and they don't shy away from the Lantern stuff. They were constructs in this episode. They definitely are hinting at some alien stuff, but much like a good mystery show, you don't give away the goods right up front. You save them, you trickle them out, you hook the audience, and you keep them coming back for more. And that's what I think season 1, episode 1 has done so far. And you get enough of a hint through the dialogue and with some of the events of the episode, to know that we're gonna get cosmic. This is a big time situation, and based on what James Gunn has said, this might be teasing us with a lot of what the big picture of Gods and Monsters chapter 1 of the DCU is all about. So I'm gonna put my faith in James Gunn and say, hell yeah, I believe you. And the trailers and all the other big alien related stuff that we have seen in there, which we will be getting in future episodes, if that's not enough to whet your appetite, then I don't know what is, right? It's like if you were expecting this to be a show that takes place entirely on space planets about a space-based mystery, that clearly they've been telling you that's not what it is. Although that's where they do go eventually, because there are aliens involved. Like, why else would the Green Lanterns be investigating a mass shooting in a dead ass in the middle of nowhere Nebraska town, right? So yeah, I'm okay with where we are so far. Sad to see how, like that though, his character really grows on you. He does, and like he's like a likable asshole, like a swan, from like the if I were to use the term from F1, the movie. Swag fan gave it an 8 out of 10. It needed to hold me to the screen, and it did. I agree with you. I agree with you. Like there's not a lot of fat in this episode that you could cut. John Stewart looks like a straight out of a comic book character. Dude, I love this John Stewart. I love that he's a little cocky. I think Hal Jordan is more up like cocky for show, even and obviously he's very protective of what he's doing. He doesn't trust the Guardians, and that's why he's like, the Guardians, when you replace me, I don't need a backup quarterback. I don't need to replace. I know what I'm doing. Trust me, Junior. You don't know what you're talking about. And Junior clearly thinks that he knows more than he actually does. And so I have a feeling John Stewart is going to get humbled throughout this show. You already see the 2026 version of the character looking a lot less, deer in the headlights, headstrong, a little more mellow, a little more like, I've seen some shit. So, I'm going to take it slow. I'm going to be more, deliberate, because you see in the look ahead trailer, John is freaking out after that alien explosion, alien blowing himself up the precinct, and Hal is like all calm. He's like, unclench your butt. Literally tells him to do that. Like, we're gonna get through this. Like, we're gonna work this case. Like, talking like somebody who's been through, one or two of these cases before, probably more than one or two, whereas John clearly has not. So it's like, I feel like some of the fake bravado that John has, or like this force, like, this is what I was born for, this is what I've lived for, I am the chosen. He's gonna get humbled. I think that setup is, we shouldn't take it as like, oh, we've done the chosen one thing before, and it's like, something that's very didactic, and we have like seen it before, has been done before. I think they're setting him up to take to eventually take a fall, and then learn to pick himself up and realize John realizes that Hal maybe was on to something that John didn't realize. So there's going to be some wisdom to be laid out here. Harold saying just joining the live, that was good, we are so back. I agree with you, Harold. As a DC fan, this show so far is every bit as much the HBO show that I wanted. It's HBO quality. The writing is fantastic. I like the dialogue. Look, the F-bombs feel a little forced at times, but I'm fine with it. Like, I feel like watching most Tarantino movies, the F-bombs feel forced, but then you eventually realize that's just part of the movie's vibe. But the storytelling is great outside of that. There's not a lot of gratuitous stuff in there. The sex scene wasn't very explicit, that wasn't very explicit. But yeah, I mean, this sets up a lot of things. This is the kind of show you wish, like Smacky is saying, that episode 2 was right here, so I can just continue watching, because a good mystery keeps you hooked. And a good mystery that's on a weekly release schedule means we get to talk about it all week long and theorize with everything and go through theories. And it's the kind of thing where the hype is going to grow for this show and the audience is going to grow for this show. Disney Plus did that with a lot of their shows like WandaVision. We were theorizing what was going to happen every other episode, and the audience kept growing throughout the season. And the fact that they're doing the same thing here, I think this show, we're going to see the ratings go up as we go from episode 1 to episode 8, especially if it's as good as so far episode 1 has been. And I'm excited about that because the DCU can use a bump right now. And it looks like this is going to be it. Because if Lanterns and Clayface stick the landing, like President Clamp is saying, you can bet your bottom dollar that the DCU is not stopping anytime soon. Yeah. Could be the redemption that we were looking for. Swag fan saying, I'm actually feeling bad that Hal is dead. Now I definitely want to find out what happened and who got him, or who did it. Got him. You gotta get him, John. I hope John gets him. I think John will find out what happened. Chuck Rod saying, was fun to see Jason Ritter as the lawyer, and goddamn everyone in this town is related to one another. Right? Yeah, he plays Billy Macon, or Will Macon Jr. Clayface will be a hit as a horror film that comes out during Halloween on a $40-50 million budget. It will succeed. I agree with you, Smacky. I think that was a clever move to make it a $40-50 million movie, a low budgeted movie. They're probably not going to spend a ton marketing it. So the break even point is going to be like 200 million or something like that. And if a small horror DC movie can make 300-400 million, that's 100+ million in profit. More than enough for that to be a success. And so far the trailers for that look fantastic. This, on the other hand, as a TV show, definitely could have Emmy consideration. Not for this season, but for next season. I definitely think next year at the Emmys, we might be seeing Lanterns getting nominated for several of those trophies. I've got a couple of them. I could tell you those are hard to get. President Clam saying, yeah, whatever the DC's plan is for the grand villain is definitely cosmic. And it looks like this show is going to try to give us some hints for that for the first time. And then Man of Tomorrow is going to pick up that baton and just run with it or fly with it, because I have a feeling whatever story Brainiac brings into the DCU, that's going to add to whatever the cosmic threat that is the big picture villain or story arc for the DCU in chapter 1. That's all going to be connected. Like James Gunn should have, he as the the storyteller that he is, I would expect that this is all planned out. Even though they gave the guys behind this show plenty of freedom to do what they are doing, I'm thinking they're not letting on that there's a lot more planning that they did behind the scenes, because nobody likes it when you're tooting your own horn, right? Also curious, what is your thoughts on the Snyder Bros are seeing reviews from the Lanterns? They're saying it's underwhelming. Hunter, I don't know. Look, if they're being genuine, like you have every right to not like the episode. Like if you didn't like it, like I think John watched it on his own, said he didn't really like it as much, but I think John was going into it with very much a mindset of like, I don't think this is going to be great. I hate the writers. He said like at the very beginning, before he's even starting the show, that like, let's see how much of an atrocity Tom King has made this thing. I'm like, if you go in with the mindset of wanting to hate it, then I don't know, like it's really gonna color your experience very differently. Like give it a genuine chance, maybe even the benefit of the doubt, and if you just watch it for what it is, you might even enjoy it. Or if you don't, that's fine. But I think a lot of Snyder Bros are probably just there to like provide bad publicity. Nice Titus profile. Yeah. Victor, Hugo, by the way, if you guys are watching, hit the like button. Appreciate the support. We are here usually Monday through Friday, but if I can't guarantee that I'll be able to do this watch along every weekend, but I'll definitely try to do it on a Sunday night. I think most weekends it's going to be fun. We can watch along each episode. So the next 7 weekends we'll be here together. But yeah, if you're here Monday through Friday, we'll do DCU Daily. So during the week we'll talk about the theories and what we're looking ahead to, what we thought about the episode after sitting with it for a couple of days, and then we'll on Sundays watch the episode together. And maybe Sinestro escaped from prison and killed Hal Jordan and stole the ring. Victor, I will say that's a stretch. Like that's a lot of Sinestro. I just don't know if we're gonna get that much Sinestro in the show. But it wouldn't really tie all that directly into the story that they've set up in episode 1. But that's an out there theory. I mean, I'll save that. We'll keep an eye on this. If Victor, the odd chance this is exactly what plays out, then I'll give you the props later on. So definitely, if Sinestro is indeed the guy who's making this whole thing tick, that would be crazy. That'd be wild. I'd be there for it. What are your predictions for the Macon family? Is there a tie into the comics that we don't know about? Okay, so I don't know as much about the tie into the comics. Maybe some of you guys can tell me more so than I. But John could tell you guys this week on DCU Daily more so about what might be the tie-in there. It depends on if he's Black Hand or not. I don't. There's nothing so far that explicitly indicates he would be Black Hand, but definitely it seems like he's putting up a front that he's you know knows that there's aliens out there because lanterns exist, and his militia is there to fight an alien invasion. But as we find out in the look ahead trailer, looks can be deceiving. While he's fronting as somebody who's getting ready a militia to fight a future alien war on behalf of Earth, it looks like he's actually working with aliens, who may not have Earth's best interest at heart. So I'm guessing the Macon family ends up being like it ends up being like the villains of the series in a lot of ways. And maybe he is. Garrett Dillahunt keeps hinting he might be playing a well-known character, and he has definitely not said no to Black Hand when it's been brought up in interviews. So we'll see how good of a liar or an actor he actually is. But yeah, your name is Mud Craig Gillespie. Yes, I thought Supergirl wasn't terrible, but had easy choices to make it a great movie. They didn't. Yes, I 100% agree with you. Supergirl was in a lot of ways this close to being a great film. It's just disappointing that they missed the mark. In some ways, it widely missed the mark. In a lot of ways, it was very close. And to even just being a lot better than it actually was, right? I agree with you there. Hal being gone is sad, but they could bring more and more to make it as bad as Kyle or Jessica or some of the others, even as the Human Red Lantern. Right. That's very possible. Very possible. But we are where we are right now. We don't know what episode 2 is going to bring other than what the trailer showed us, which probably is giving us stuff from multiple episodes that we are to see. So in the immediate aftermath of this, I don't know, like I guess the next thing would be to take Hal off that bench and bring him over to the morgue, keep it on the down low, and then John gets to investigate what happened. I don't know in the 2026 present day timeline what happened to the Macon family. Where's Will? Where's Billy? The husband to the sheriff. Where's Zoe? We know that the sheriff said her son plays high school football, made it to all state, so he's around. So far, I think this is better than the 2011 movie. Take my money, Lanterns Ring at DC Shop. Yeah, John has like all the colors. He'll show it off during the week. I think that lantern design, by the way, is really really good. Like I love the lantern ring design in this show. It to me looks like a better design than the Guy Gardner lantern ring. It looks more legit, looks more real. I understand the Hal Jordan Guy Gardner ring looks a little more elevated for like the more elevated feel of the Justice Gang, and with like the superhero, very much like playing superheroes right out the pages of a Superman comic version, whereas this lantern ring very much belongs in the world of the show. NPG saying I think they're going to keep Hal alive through the ring forever. Yeah, probably, like that his 2006 version of the hologram, maybe. Probably that. Swag fan saying, I actually like Supergirl, could have been better. Yes, but it wasn't horrible like some people say. Like, I'm not saying it was horrible. I think it was an unmitigated box office disaster. It wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen. It's certainly a lot better than some of those 2023 DCEU films. It just could have been so much better. And I think the wasted potential annoys me and makes me wonder what could have been, and then President Clam saying I enjoyed Supergirl, though I think it's very middling overall. Exactly, I agree. It was a 7 for me, Swack. All right, so 7. Are you giving Supergirl a 7, MTG, or are you giving this episode a 7? Steven saying, is John sleeping? John is not sleeping. He's just not. He doesn't do Sundays, so John is not here. Maybe he'll join us next weekend. We'll see. I'll ask him. This was more of a last minute decision I made, so I didn't want to impose on John on a Sunday. He's with us like 5 days a week anyway. Figure Drawing Hello saying, Dan, have you seen Rebel Ridge? Also, for anyone in the chat who likes Lanterns thus far, I recommend watching Rebel Ridge. I watched Rebel Ridge, and I think Rebel Ridge is fantastic. One of the most underrated movies on Netflix, like that are not known for great movies. And I was like, remember, this is before Aaron Pierre got cast as Jon Stewart. And everybody was like pointing to Rebel Ridge as like, that is a Jon Stewart right there, because then the movie got famous and popular right around the time he was cast in the role, and people were like, the guy from Rebel Ridge, hell yeah. And yes, it feels like watching one of those early career Dwayne Johnson movies. It feels like not exactly like Rambo, like First Blood, Not exactly like that. Doesn't get as dark, but very, very underrated. Did not see it coming. Like, you turn on a random movie on Netflix called Rebel Ridge, you're expecting something pretty bland, and Rebel Ridge was a lot of fun. I wish they did sequels of that thing, man. Like, it's like, kind of like Reacher, like, like First Blood, like a lot of those, like Faster, I think, or Fast, was it? What was that? There was that one movie that Dwayne Johnson did early in his career where The Rock, like, he's like this former soldier, comes into town, the casino's corrupt, running the town, and like, he's there to serve justice, and like Aaron Pierre plays a similar character in Rebel Ridge. Very much worth a watch, especially if you want to know, like, why why Aaron Pierre is perfect for Jon Stewart. Yeah, Raw is tomorrow. I'll keep an eye on it. Let's see what happens on Raw. I want to see what's going on with Solo Sikoa joining the Bloodline. And lots of comedy to be had, I'm sure. MTG saying same for Agatha Dan. The show is way better than it had any business being. Good mystery there too. Exactly. That show got better as it went. Very underrated. It's just, I feel like Disney Plus shows lost so much momentum with like that period where they had a lot of stuff that just felt off, and they, before they, made a turn and decided to actually hire people who know how to make TV to make TV shows rather than people who know how to make movies make TV shows. But yeah, I mean, Agatha all along. I can't wait for Vision Quest. Clearly they're doing the whole WandaVision, Agatha all along, and Vision Quest are part of a trilogy of stories. So I'm hoping there'll be a lot of crossover there. Maybe we'll get Wanda's return. Maybe we'll get, Aubrey Plaza's character. I forget what she was called. Maybe we'll get to see the entire, family reunited, Wanda and Vision and all. So yeah, speaking of family, I gotta pay my family taxes, right?
Your brother never told you never threaten a man's family?
And yeah, they better not get caught using AI for previs and concept art for the show, yeah, and for the movie. The suspense is that in that interrogation scene was crazy. Yeah, Obama bit gave me chills, right? I was like, this is HBO. They're not afraid to get a little, like, political, or like lean into that, because he was like, you are a white dude from Nebraska. You don't have an opinion on Barack Hussein Obama, and like the Valen guy just says, he was the 45th president, 44th, I forget what it was, 43rd, 44th, whatever. I forget the number president that Barack Obama was. Is like he, got elected after George W. Bush, and his birth certificate that says his full name is Barack Hussein Obama. I'm like, really? I'm pretty sure if I asked a normal white dude from Nebraska about Barack Hussein Obama, that they would have a lot more to say. So yeah, again, it's very relatable too, right? Like I get it. And 2016 was the year when 2016 was a pretty consequential year, if you remember, because that's when Trump first got elected. So very timely reference too, in terms of when the story takes place in that scene. Dan, I think Supergirl was just a misstep. DC's still good for now. That's what Peter Safran said. And you know what? If this show keeps getting better, then yeah, hell yeah. The Harry Potter question also was funny. I loved it. Like, oh, it only made like 20 plus movies. Like, you would know who Harry Potter is. Like, what? I don't read books. It's like, he actually says it's a book before Valen says I don't read books. So yeah, the line of questioning was perfect, very well written. And cultural references in shows can throw you, or movies can throw you off and take you out of the suspension of disbelief. But when it's done right, it works. The CW often did that well, of the few things that they did do well with the Arrowverse shows, and Marvel tends to do it fairly well at times. They did that well here in this scene, making those cultural references. And again, those are Warner Brothers properties, right? Well, not the Obama and Bush thing, but the Harry Potter thing. Dog welder. After Man of Tomorrow, who do you think will be the next film in the DCU? Or what do you think will be the next film? Well, Dynamic Duo is not part of the DCU. Yeah, we actually don't know what the next film is going to be. Could be Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman, they're expediting. I would expect it to be Wonder Woman and or Batman. That's got to be it. But given that 2028 has a Batman movie with the Batman Part 2, I think you're right. Probably Wonder Woman more likely, and then they save Batman Brave and the Bold for 2029. And then I'm sure 2029 might already include the next movie in the Super Family Saga, because James Gunn and Peter Safran and one of the other producers at DC Studios have already said they know what comes after Man of Tomorrow, and they know that Millie Alcock is a part of that plan. So, and Supergirl will be there, obviously, so I'm guessing Superman will be there as well. So maybe 2029 we do get the Superman and Batman movie the same year. So I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, I think the next movie after Man of Tomorrow could be Wonder Woman, because they don't want to do like in 20, it would be 2028, right? And 2027 is Man of Tomorrow, 2028 is the Batman Part 2, and you wouldn't want to do a DCU Batman at that year as well. Uh, yeah, I think Gunn being in charge of the movies is good. Let's see. I mean, if these guys land the plane with this show, we know that Tom King is going to be less involved in season 2. They've already, I forget the name of the person they brought in to be the co-showrunner for season 2 with Chris Mundy, because Damon Lindelof is off doing other things for HBO, so he won't be back. He's going to be credited as an executive producer, as will be Tom King, but they have plans for season 2. They haven't got the green light from HBO yet, but I think HBO usually what they do is they'll wait to see the reaction from audiences and critics from at least the first maybe few episodes of a show to give a green light to the next season. So this time next week, this time in or maybe this time in a couple of weeks in early September, we will probably find out whether Lanterns is greenlit for season 2 or not. But they already brought in a second showrunner to replace Tom King and Damon Lindelof to work with Chris Mundy. Outside DC Studios is pretty confident that HBO will give it the green light. So I think the early signs are good. Yeah, I agree, MTG. I think they have big plans for the Supergirl character in the future, and I can't wait to see Jon Stewart cross paths as Superman. Very well cast, and so regardless of whether Supergirl was, good or not, Supergirl, the character, will be with us for a while. Yeah, Chuck. Jon Stewart was definitely getting his steps in this episode. He did a lot of walking. Yeah, he walked to that town, to the taco stand from, I'm guessing he climbed up the mountain after the car fell off the cliff. And yeah, Hal just flew over there. Yeah. I don't think the series can be summed up from the initial impressions. Yeah, I mean, it's a mystery, right? It's a good mystery. A good mystery you can't just judge from a couple of episodes, whether it's from the beginning of the show, the middle of the show, or the end of the show. Because by definition, if the mystery is told well across the entire season, you have to watch all the episodes to put the pieces together. So I think, yeah, you have to watch that. So initial impressions, though, for this episode, I think are pretty good. If I were to give it a score, I would give this episode, for me, a 9.5 out of 10. It was as close to perfect as you could possibly imagine. The 0.5, I'm just saying because you can always do better. So for me, I had a really good time with the episode. You guys saw me react to it live. If you didn't, go back and watch it. I'm not sure how riveting it is in hindsight, but yeah, I think this was a great episode. So many fresh faces tonight in the chat as well, and we're welcoming them all in with open arms. Hit the subscribe. We're here 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week. So usually not on the weekends is what I mean by that. I'll try to catch the next watch along. Started watching about 30 minutes after the drop, though. Yeah. So I'm gonna get in the watch alongs on every. I'm just gonna make a decision. I'll be here every Sunday in the next 7 weeks. I'll usually try to go live a few minutes before 9 p.m. or I think they said 10 p.m.s now Eastern time moving forward. So I'll confirm that during the week, but it might be that because I don't know if you guys saw the same thing, but before the show started, they said Sundays at 10 p.m. It's been 9 p.m. from the beginning, and something must have changed. So we'll confirm that during the week with doing DCU Daily episodes. And then, yeah, I think we'll make it 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern, and we'll watch it every Sunday live. We'll do a watch along, and then we'll react to it after, like we are today. Are there fighting and guns? Yes, there are. There's definitely guns. AR-15s, I think. I thought they were M4s. What do I know? But there were guns definitely in this episode. The crime that they're investigating was a mass shooting. Apparently, we find out there are 4 aliens that got shot. By the way, they said in this interrogation scene there's 14 alien species that humans are aware of that can completely bypass MRIs, CT scans, X-rays, and just completely show up as humans, basically, trick all of the technology that humans have. So could be any one of those 14 alien species that Raylan is that they arrest, and then he blows himself up. But yes, there are guns and there is fighting. Not a lot of physical fighting in the first episode, but definitely guns. I don't, you see them firing them off at a gun range on the ranch that the Macons own. I think if Lanterns gets a season 2, then that's when we will get full Sinestro. I hope so. It depends. Honestly, I'm not sure yet because we don't know how much Sinestro we're gonna get in this season, and whether it's it looks like it's an older Sinestro, so I don't know if he is gonna escape prison and go back to doing what he was doing before. We'll see. We'll see. Caleb so far does look like he's a fan, and he hasn't even seen it, but based on our reactions alone, Caleb seems to be liking it so far. So we'll see what Caleb thinks about it once he's seen the episode tomorrow. We'll talk about it on the Monday episode of the show. Angelica saying, "Me too. I love this first episode of Lanterns. 9 out of 10. Awesome." I think a lot of you guys are giving it 8s and 9s out of 10s. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. One of you guys said 7 out of 10, but I wasn't sure if we were talking about Supergirl or not. But President Clamp with the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, saying, of this project and the next two, what will be the best? So Lanterns, Clayface, and Man of Tomorrow. You guys in the chat, what do you think will be the best? I'm willing to bet that the best of those three is going to be Man of Tomorrow, simply because of James Gunn's track record. It's almost spotless. Like, it literally, when did James Gunn ever miss, right? So I'm willing to bet it's gonna be Man of Tomorrow. Clayface and Lanterns, they're so different from each other seemingly. One is a movie, one is a TV show, one is a murder mystery with space cops. The other one is a body horror thing that takes place in Gotham. It's hard to compare. Maybe there's like a 2A, 2B. That's how I will go. But maybe this time next year, having seen all three, we'll have a very different opinion. So as of right now, I'm going to say Man of Tomorrow probably ends up being the best of the three overall. But even Man of Tomorrow is going to be very different as a movie than this show and Clayface. MTG gave Supergirl a 7. What did you think about the episode, MTG? I forget what rating you gave it. Angelica saw Supergirl 3 times in theaters. I saw Spider-Man 3 times in theaters. I think any movie, if you watch 3 times, your opinion of it will generally go up, even if it is, not as good of a movie relative to like the average opinion. And that's great. I mean, you were one of the few people who supported the movie genuinely, and that's incredible. I love that. I mean, I'm going to see it at home again and see if I change my mind about Supergirl. But so far, having seen it in theaters, I think I gave it a 7.5 out of 10. So, yeah. What do you want? What else? Vengeance. Yeah. What a line. What a dialogue. Piece of dialogue. I do watch WWE. Yes. I acknowledge my tribal chief, sort of. I think the OG Bloodline storyline was a lot stronger than the current one. Like Roman scheduling and all those things. It feels a little rehashed, but we'll see what it turns into. WWE has a way of pulling a Joker out of their back pocket every once in a while. So Solo Sikoa is like the current equivalent of Sami Zayn in that story right now. Like, he's carrying it on his back. Dan, do you think we get a teaser for Superman 2 before the end of the year? You mean for Man of Tomorrow? Probably not. I want to say the earliest we get it is probably New York Comic Con, which I believe takes place January or something like that. They don't have any reason to put out a teaser. Like, the movie comes out summer of 2027. I wouldn't expect a teaser until I don't know what movie's coming out in like the early spring months of 2027. Warner Brothers Pictures. I wouldn't expect it this year. I wouldn't expect a Man of Tomorrow teaser this year. Yeah, Secret Invasion definitely killed a lot of interest from many people. Secret Invasion was terrible for Disney Plus shows. Season 2 of Agatha, I don't think is happening because they're calling Vision Quest like the part of the trilogy of shows. So it would be WandaVision, Agatha All Along, Vision Quest, and that's it. 1 season apiece. So definitely doesn't look like Agatha's getting a season 2. Funny part about the Obama part was that when the sheriff believed it was Alien 2, right? It's like you see the moment when things turn, and the music obviously kind of clues you in as well, the score, but definitely all there. Hello, George. Morning, guys. Just watched the episode, and wow, we loved it. Yes. As with everybody else in the chat, you'll notice a lot of you guys loved it. So yes, it was really good. I gave it a 9.5 out of 10. A lot of you guys give it 8s and 9s. Hopefully that will shush a few of the DCU hate grifters. Right. Yeah. Now, I will say this too. At the same time, if you are somebody like John, who hopefully will be back on the show this week, he didn't like it. He texted me. He didn't like it. I haven't checked in what he thought about it after the episode finished, but halfway through, he wasn't really into it. So some people may not like it. I know John kind of like went into it not wanting to like it. So, I mean, I feel like that usually colors your, your perspective a little bit. Like, I went into the Batman the first time watching it and not really wanting to like it, and I did not like the movie. but the second and third time and onwards, every time I've seen the Batman with Robert Pattinson, the best Batman movie since The Dark Knight. So I very much know what it feels like going into watching something, not wanting to like it or wanting to really like it. Because I think if you go in with your expectations at the door, whether it's physically when going into a movie or sitting on your couch watching a TV show, you'll have a better time enjoying it. Or if you don't like it, you don't like it. But like, watch it for what it is rather than, coloring it with some pre-built expectations. Peter Safran did say Supergirl will be a big part of the movie after Man of Tomorrow. Whether that's Man of Tomorrow 2 or not is yet to be determined. But yes, that is what Peter Safran said. So, hopefully the future looks bright for Supergirl. Chuck saying the way the alien was mocking the Lantern notes, we really pissed Hal off. And that, to me, I feel like is a big hint that while Hal is maybe not really in line with the Guardians of the universe want the Green Lantern Corps to be, maybe some corruption somewhere in the ranks of the Guardians, Hal still very much takes the oath and therefore the purpose, the duty instilled in him as a Lantern very seriously. Because Valen knew how to press his buttons, and that was by mockingly reciting the Green Lantern Oath to him, which I thought is, again, telling you a lot about who Hal is. Even though he may not look like that he believes in the institutions of the Lantern Corps, he very much believes in what the Lantern Ring stands for. Sovereignty, peace, and something like that. Like he said, there were 3 words, or that the lantern that gave him the ring said to him before he died. So yeah, in the bar scene, if you go back to that one, before he goes and gets beaten up by a bunch of people at the bar, you get arrested, and to get into that interrogation scene with Valen. But the better the shows, the harder it is for them to moan. I know, yeah, we'll see. I mean, 7 more episodes to go, and some people who just don't want to like it because they don't like it, they will never like it. I don't think you could convince somebody who's not even going to watch the show and say it's terrible to change their mind. It's not our job to change anybody's mind. If you're enjoying it, you can recommend it to people and if they enjoy it, great. Otherwise, it's life. Not everybody's gonna love everything. Some people will have an agenda. That's fine. We're just here to enjoy it and support. We're here for the love of movies. We're here for the love of TV shows. And I'd rather be positive than try to nail something to the ground and pound on it as hard as I can. We do talk about the box office. We have talked about Supergirl a lot. I talked about it, a lot in terms of what I thought were problems with the movie, but always with the intention of there were so many ways in which they could have done better. But at the end of the day, Supergirl still, I think, was better than most people remember it as. And as a 7.5 out of 10 for me, I thought there was a lot of room for improvement. But a 7.5 out of 10 means that it was pretty good. So that being said, I mean, we've talked about Spider-Man, we've talked about The Odyssey. There's a lot of movies out there, that there are people out there who just have an agenda against it. But a movie will do the talking for itself. The Odyssey is $1 billion movie, highest grossing movie for Christopher Nolan since the Dark Knight trilogy. What are you going to say at that point? I just saw that 26% of its ticket sales have come from IMAX. That's ridiculous. IMAX gets a 12% cut of that, which is a big number. So yeah, it's insane how good The Odyssey is doing. Clayface will be scary. A lot of body horror. Clayface is a murder mystery drama. MTG says it's a villain horror movie. Man of Tomorrow is a superhero comic film, finally featuring Brainiac, and so the tones are so different, and that's exactly what James Gunn has promised us. And let's hope that it works out that in the favor of the DCU, that they can pull off different tones and yet at the same time making it feel like a cohesive universe. Marvel did that well. It's not like Marvel hasn't done that well. There's been times that they haven't done that well, but the first Thor movie looked very different than the first Captain America movie, than the first Iron Man movie, right? And then we got Guardians of the Galaxy. Couldn't look any more different and sound any more different than those more earthbound adventures. So yeah, I mean, Marvel hasn't. It's a thing where when you've been doing it for so long, you're not gonna get everything right. And Supergirl was an example of not getting it right. But on the whole, if your batting average is good, then you can be an all-star. And hopefully the DCU will be an all-star, much like the MCU has been, and may be getting back to that. George woke up at 2 a.m. in the UK to watch it. 10 out of 10. Perfect score. That's the first perfect score we have seen so far. That's awesome, man. And good on you for being up at 2 a.m. to watch it, man. That's great. We'll be here doing a watch along every Sunday, although it's not 2 a.m. here, thankfully. But I appreciate the hustle, George. Tom King kind of looks like the rapper Pitbull. He does. I mean, they're both bald. I suppose if he had like sunglasses on, they could look like twins. Interesting observation. MTG saying WB has been putting out teasers in December for both Superman and Supergirl so far. You know what? That's a good point. Speaking of the question from earlier, Supergirl did get a teaser around that time, as did Superman. And Man of Tomorrow comes out around the same time next year that Supergirl and Superman did, June and July, right? So I guess I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, yeah, I suppose maybe we do get a teaser from James Gunn for Man of Tomorrow by December. They'd be done filming it by then, and they would already have been in post production for about a couple of months. That's plenty of time to put together enough footage for a teaser. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not gonna bet my bottom dollar on it just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised. There is precedence for it. MTG saying, to be specific, I'll go with a 9.2 for episode 1. All right. I gave it a 9.5. I feel like we're pretty much right there, both of us. So we got a new name in the chat. Swastik Das. Sorry. I hope I said that correctly. If you are new, definitely welcome on in and join the community. Saying, is Hal really dead? I think the theory that we have kind of settled on is based on the bullet hole in his head that you see. Yes. Maybe it's a red herring to throw us off, but I mean, if you're just going to take it at face value, literally and metaphorically, then yes, Hal is dead. Why or how that he came to be dead, we don't know yet. Is he truly dead? We also don't know that yet. But I'm going with, in episode 2, right at the beginning, they're either going to straight up tell us by showing us his dead body and be like, yep, this dude is dead, or they're just going to leave it and just, move on from it and, focus on how we got to that point. And the longer they take to confirm that he's actually dead, the more likely it is that he's actually alive. But if they immediately show him, like, in the coroner's room office, like, nope, he died by a bullet to the head, and the forensics say that, then I'm like, all right, well, then he's dead. So episode 2, that I hope that they're either going to answer that question right away, or we're just going to like wait to get that answer, and the longer we wait, the less likely it is that he's actually dead. That's my theory. But yeah, I mean, very good mystery drama. So murder mystery drama so far. Very True Detective like. I could see all the influences. Chuck Rott saying, I think we're going to go more into John and his dad's relationship, because I believe he was talking to him after. He was, when he's like walking around on that street to the taco bar, like you see him on the phone, you hear the voice. It's the same actor's voice that we see in the flashback, the young dad to a younger Hal Jordan. And I know they cast multiple actors to play 2 different ages of parents for Jon Stewart, I should say. So Jon Stewart, we see in the opening scene, we see Jon Stewart's father. But I think they cast 2 actors to play an older version of the father and a younger version. The voice we hear on the phone is clearly the voice of the same actor who plays the younger version of Jon Stewart's father. So yeah, I do think we're going to get to see more of their relationship, more flashbacks for sure. There's even been like that shot where the mother of John is holding a young Jon Stewart baby. So we know they've cast 2 different actors to play an older version of Jon Stewart's mom and a younger version. So yeah, I think we'll see that too. And clearly his dad wants to, it feels like his parents were the one told by the Guardians that your son will grow up to become a Lantern. So the parents, of which, at least the father was in the military, not the Marines. I think his father was in the Army or the Air Force. I think he was in the Army. And then obviously we know that Hal was a pilot, so he was in the Air Force, or maybe the Navy. Could be a Navy aviator. Who knows? Probably the Air Force, more likely. And then we know that the parents eventually sent John to be in the Marines, so he's an ex-Marine now. But he's always known that he's going to be a Lantern. So I guess the military experience played into that. So yeah, we'll get more of that for sure. I'm definitely sure we're going to see that. And the teaser, you know what, Gribble? That's a good point. I think the Man of Tomorrow teaser, that's a really good point. While it may play in front of Avengers Doomsday, I think they're going to premiere it in front of Dune Part 3, because that's a Warner Brothers picture. And given that both movies are coming out the same weekend, why not put Man of Tomorrow's first teaser ahead of Dune Part 3 and Avengers Doomsday? Doomsday will be the bigger movie. So yes, I definitely think that's when we're going to get the Man of Tomorrow teaser. Oh, his father was a U.S. Marshal. He's a U.S. Marshal, but he's like in military khakis. So I guess that could work too, right? Okay, I'll take that. I'll take your word for it, MTG. So there you go. All right. Well, on that lovely note, I think we've been doing this long enough, 2.5 hours. I planned this to be only like an hour and a half, but usually things go longer than we expect. So we'll leave that there for now. I thought this was a fantastic first episode for Lanterns, a great premiere. It sets up a fantastic mystery. It doesn't give away a lot of secrets. It does give you a lot of hints at what's to come, but it sets up a fantastic mystery, sets up every character of consequence, and all of these characters are hiding something, and they all feel like onions where you're only beginning to peel the layers off. It looks like this is going to be a true to form HBO show, and at least so far, episode 1 delivers the goods, and it sets up a mystery for us to solve, multiple mysteries for us to solve, including that of the fate of Hal Jordan, and Jon Stewart, where he ends up and why and how. And like I said, a good mystery hooks you in and then leaves you wanting more. That's what episode 1, the pilot episode of Lanterns, does. It pulls you in and leaves you wanting more. And what else could you have asked for, right? I think this was a perfect premiere. So we'll leave that there for now. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. We're back. We don't have to rub it in the face of somebody who didn't like it. If you didn't like the show, let me know if you liked it. If you liked it so far, if you didn't like it, get in the comments down below. Hit the hype button, hit the like button, hit subscribe. We are here Monday through Friday, usually with DCU Daily. And then as this show continues, we'll be here every Sunday. I'll be here. Not sure about John, but I will be here every Sunday. And I will confirm during the week whether it is going to be 10 p.m. Eastern time moving forward every Sunday, or it is 9 p.m. I think I saw something before the show today that it was 10 p.m. So there we go. All right, Emo Nerdgle, go check it out. Thank you, Nelson. Hit the like button on your way out. We'll see you tomorrow on DCU Daily. Hit the notification bell so you know when we go live. And on that lovely note, let's get blessed from the beginning. And I'll see you next time. I'll see you tomorrow on DCU Daily. More Lantern stuff I'm sure we'll talk about then. Have a good rest of your night.
It's another project that's been blessed from the beginning.
There's the shot right there. That.
Okay, we don't need to see chorus.
Right there.
Hey, buddy. Eyes up here.
Now you want to get nuts?
Let's get nuts. Here we go.
Victory mine. Ask me how am I doing? I'm telling you, really, I'm doing sublime. I never wait in the stewardess line. I just go do it. I'm moving my time. Really had nothing to do with it. How am I moving? I'm moving like you want to shine. Follow my lead. Don't listen to lies. I had to put me all on the line. That's why I know that victory's mine.
I prefer Jared Leto.
Hunka hunka!